right, hello and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to Blade Runner tonight after another break. Unfortunately, we've just constantly been having breaks in Blade Runner, but the good news is that this is going to be the finale. We're ready to go. I have a very lengthy summary of the campaign to date that we're going to go over to make sure we're all on the same page, and then we're going to kind of see where this ends. Some of the mystery, most of the mystery of what happened in the case that they've been working on for the past 6 episodes before this has already been solved. So we get to kind of do some other little loose ends, answer a few little lingering questions and stuff like that, and see where we go. But yeah, we're getting ready to do it. Before I do that lengthy summary, why don't we just do a quick refresher of who everybody is, and then we'll dive in. So Derek, who are you playing?
Yeah, so I am Everett MaxWell. I'm a skimmer in the group as my class, I suppose. And just a social person that tries to talk his way out of situations. But when I need to, I can put a hole in someone's head and feel bad about it for a couple of days. I've been with the LAPD. I think my character's been with them for 7 years, so almost a veteran, but not quite there. And so far, I get along with everybody, except for when I don't get along with them. And
you are a colossally old age of like 35 or something.
Yeah, something like that. 37.
37.
Oh,
that is just ancient. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And then we'll go over to Ashley Fayhar Crow. Tell us about her.
I'm playing Faye. She is kind of like our muscle, loosely, of the group, like actual physical muscle, but punching a replicant doesn't necessarily work out so well for you. So she learned that the hard way. Yeah, she's had an interesting go of things. She's had conflict with her, what is it called? My key relationship, where she found out that he's part of this almost like terrorist group. And just kind of her whole worldview is kind of just tilted on its axis. So she's learned a lot.
Yeah, I think terrorist organization is pretty fair. That's how I'm placing it. They're blowing things up and targeting and killing people and planning assassinations. So yeah, I think you're okay with that terminology. Let's go to the bottom row, where we have Lawton Stone. Steven, tell us about Lawton, how he's doing.
Lawton is not doing well. He is the analyst of the group. Right now, he's the only one not with the group, I believe. He's hanging out at headquarters doing research, trying to coordinate data analysis for them, communications, having a bit of an identity crisis, trying to figure out who I am or what I am. And I've not figured it out quite yet, but I'm getting there.
I don't know. I think we all kind of know what you are, right? I mean, like we as players.
He doesn't know.
Right. That's fair.
Like he does know, but he also doesn't want to accept it yet.
He's in denial, right? He's in denial.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. Perfect. Okay. Then let's go over to our other replicant. Let's go over to Arlie. So Melissa, tell us about Arlie.
Yeah, so Arlie has been a known replicant from the beginning of the campaign. She is, has signed up to do this blade running thing. So, I think that's an interesting perspective to play from, being a replicant that's part of, kind of blade running. But she has been interested in the backstory to everything that's been going on and what happened and what, people that she works with, and thought she viewed as colleagues and they would view her as colleagues, what they are alleged to have done to replicants. So that's interesting. I've enjoyed kind of the black and white theme with her, and kind of like art and music and some of those other kind of like downtime stuff with her. And she is by position an inspector. And she just loves being paired with Mr. Lawton, Mr. Stone.
Mr. Lawton, Mr. Stone, indeed. And then finally, we have Mr. Productivity. We have Koji Sunru. Long, tell us about Koji.
I'm Koji. Been on the task force for 11 years now. I'm the fixer. very fashionable. Got modern tattoos, nice fitting clothes. Currently recovering from a concussion from our last investigation.
Yes, you were conked over the head by Joe Hulau, who is one of the accomplices or one of the members of this sort of organization that we've been investigating. So yeah, fantastic. Because you went off on your own, you went off on your own. And then you got mugged. That's right. Stephen just reminded me in chat. Also got mugged while on the subway to go extort a meal out of your elderly security friend. So there you go. Okay. So let's dive in. I have a lengthier than normal summary because this is the finale. And we have unfortunately had some breaks. So I want to make sure everyone's got everything in their heads. So we're just going to go through this. So we started on the night of September 17th, 2037. We were at a Chemplast warehouse, which was torched, and the LAPD put together this investigative task force to look into it. And it was all kind of pressured or on the behest of Wallace Corp, who is Chemplast's parent company. It was supervised by Deputy Chief Holden, who we've met a few times, and the task force was comprised of the very people who were just introduced. Now, initial security footage revealed that a former LAPD official and current Chemplast security consultant, a man by the name of Monty Croyle, was strung up inside the warehouse just moments before it exploded in this inferno. Now, the investigation also revealed this little symbol at the scene and also on the tattooed arm of the primary suspect, a guy by the name of Ty Walters, who's an amateur boxer and a part-time bouncer at two different places, Maeve's Bar and Happy Jack's Casino. The symbol conveyed this notion of wake up, and it used letters and imagery like an eyeball instead of an A, the arrow pointing up, but that was basically it. Now, you started digging a little bit into Croyle's reputation in some old case files, and it definitely suggests a crooked cop, and it also revealed an earlier appearance of that same symbol in some of his case files, specifically tattooed on the body of a Nexus 8 model with ties to the replicant underground and who went by the moniker Bit Fiend. The replicant, however, was retired 5 years ago after reportedly killing another LAPD officer named Mei Zhai, who worked in counterterrorism with Croyle and some other officers, including a man by the name of Hoyt Zemke. Zemke is still on the force, but he's been on medical leave after getting assaulted near Happy Jack's Casino, where evidence has now kind of suggested might be involved in some black market reselling of old LAPD and RDU gear. Now, the symbol also led you all to a tattoo artist by the name of Bao Mao, who revealed that there were actually other people in addition to Ty Walters who recently asked for that same image. Portia Kiani, who is an artist and heiress from Old Money, Joe Hulau, who is a trash barge worker, and Warwick Foxwell, the childhood friend of Faye Harcrows. At Ty Walters' apartment, Koji, you discovered that Walters had been doing surveillance on Monty Croyle, and that Croyle had been in contact with Zemke, a kill reporter named Ronald Zephyr, and Lena Kova, a high-ranking UN official and a former LAPD police chief. You also uncovered some messages that suggested this long-buried secret between that group that involved this Miss Mei Zhai, an old terrorism case that they worked on together, stuff like that. Stone, you managed to track this residue and radiation signatures from the explosion at Chemplast to this abandoned factory in the Kipple Wastes. And the task force discovered there this bomb-making equipment and evidence of other devices that had been made. However, while you guys were investigating this, the suspects arrived, a shootout unfolded, and it all resulted in the death of Ty Walters and the capture of Joe Hulau, who was apparently Walters' accomplice. Now, Hulau revealed after some interrogation that 5 years ago, he was a member of a replicant commune that had come out of hiding voluntarily, registered with the LAPD, and agreed to run a protein farm for Wallace Corp in the lands east of the Kipple where humans really can't survive. He also revealed how the LAPD betrayed that agreement, conjured some sort of terrorism charge, and torched all of the replicants at that farm. These actions were approved by Lena Kova, who was the then chief of police, and orchestrated by Monty Croyle, who was the head of the counterterrorism task force at the time. Zemke was Croyle's right-hand man. And Ronald Zephyr, the reporter from Kill, buried the story in exchange for greater access as Kova started climbing the political ladder within LA. Now, you started to interrogate Hualau after kind of getting him settled down, and it was unofficial. It wasn't at LAPD headquarters. And Arlie and MaxWell actually got moved by his story and set him free to finish his revenge plot, believing that it was the only way to get justice against a very powerful figure like Lena Kova. Also, something Hualau said seemed to trigger memories in Lawton Stone. Now, this is not necessarily stuff that the rest of the characters know, but we as players all know this, right? These sensory and experiential details of the protein farm murders, as if Stone was there, as if, just like Hualau and Walters, he was one of the torched victims. Later, Stone's identity crisis continued as, while he was watching this classic Bogart movie that he normally watches, or these different arrays, broke the fourth wall and actually started talking to him directly. So evidence kind of started to mount that Stone, unbeknownst even to himself, is actually a replicant himself. The task force, you had to debrief Holden after the killing of Ty Walters. You also had to debrief a Chemplas executives that you met a few times, and a representative from Lena Kova's office at the UN before continuing on with your investigation. Faye went over to Warwick Foxwell's home eventually. You uncovered evidence that tied Warwick Foxwell to Portia Kiani, one of the other people that had that tattoo. On the surface, it looked like they were just lovers, but there are all these different messages, like these coded messages and these data packets that were embedded within some of these messages that seemed to indicate that they were another terrorist cell, just like Hualau and Walters, and that they were planning to assassinate Lena Kova during some sort of charity art show at Kiana's Fiamma Gallery. Background on her, Kiana, also seemed to indicate that she recently suffered some kind of nervous breakdown after someone vandalized one of her exhibits, tagging her art with the same symbol and tattoo that's been connected to this case since the beginning. But security footage revealed that she did it herself, possibly unknowingly. And then that story eventually got released as Ronald Zephyr again, but he buried it. He squashed that story for some reason. Not only that, but the LAPD forensics team that got sent to investigate Kiani's vandalism situation, Lawton Stone was on that team despite having no memory of doing any of the work. Even worse, someone had apparently obfuscated some records for Walters and Hualau on the Esper wall, which means that Stone is basically one of the only people in the LAPD with the know-how and the access to do such a thing. Later, when the task force interviewed Zephyr, some of you did this, he kind of begrudgingly confirmed some of the details about his connections to Croyle and Lena Kova, but he didn't really feel much remorse, and he really didn't feel any kind of compulsion to come forward. This is his business. This is what he does. Coming clean would ruin some of his connections. Eventually, most of you, with the exception of Lawton Stone, headed to the art gallery Fiamma, and the hours before the charity event, you started coordinating a little bit with Kiani's assistant, Chaz, and the head of a UN security team, hoping that you were going to sweep the premises looking for those explosive devices. Because embedded in some of those messages that Faye found, there were these different locations where Foxwell was told to place these devices, but they had weird names, things like Cityscapes in Flux, Whispers in the Mist, and the Melting City. And as we left off in our last session a month ago, the last thing we saw were these holographic arrows that were pointing to different wings of this gallery, each of which had a flashing title that matched those very concepts that Faye found in the messages, revealing that those were names of exhibits. Whew. Okay, and that's it for tonight. So we'll see you all in 2 weeks, as I'm exhausted just going through all of that. Okay.
Jeff, I didn't catch that first part. What was like the
this
second
is where
or
you're
third
like, Jeff, you've
sentences?
been muted for the past 5 minutes, right?
Oh,
God.
man.
Right? Oh, geez. That happened
Don't
once
worry,
in
I
our
was
Year
listening
Zero.
to make
Remember that
sure.
Gen Live game? Oh, God. That Gen Live game, for 45 minutes in, we didn't have anyone back in those days we first started. No one was muted the whole time.
That was
Okay.
fun.
No, that was not fun. The amount of work and effort I had to do to fix that was unreal.
Well, yes. It was funny
Okay.
that it happened.
So let's get
Yes.
into scene. Here we
Mhm.
are, everyone but Lawton Stone. It is afternoon leading into evening. It's essentially we're one shift effectively before the charity gallery is going to begin. Those of you that are here, Everett, Faye, Arlie, Koji, you look around. There are people working, setting up, catering staff, gallery staff. You can see there's security personnel that occasionally the guy that you've been speaking with, I'm just going to give you his name, Agent Gibbs. You can see that they're kind of coming and going from time to time. There's music that's subtly playing in the background. As you can see, people are kind of doing some tests here and there. Also, most of the artwork is like this combination of old school impressionism and sort of new school calligraphy. And it's kind of combining those kind of concepts together. And so there's a lot of things that are being cascaded or thrown onto walls or onto objects or even onto yourselves. And so a lot of that stuff is being tested as well. There are plenty of people here, but it's not as crowded as it will be later. So what would you all like to do?
Speaking with Agent Gibbs here. So, do we have permission to roam around the exhibit?
Under my supervision, I don't want anyone going anywhere that I can't see. We're working together on this, okay? So whatever you find, you let me know. Whatever me and my guys find, I'll let you know. All right? And hopefully no one gets hurt.
Just like we want it. These
All right.
exhibits here. And Faye, you picked up these names before?
Yeah, we know that these are going to be possible locations for explosive devices.
Let's have a little look around them. As
Okay.
I'll head to like the melting city.
Okay. So basically imagine that there is a main gallery with high arching ceilings. And that's the main, like the foyer from outside comes into this main gallery with these huge arching ceilings. And there's all these different smaller wings that kind of go off in different directions. Some of them go to exhibits, some of them go to like a VIP bar, stuff like that. So you pull off, and that's fine. And you can see that Agent Gibbs, he'll follow you all, and he's and he can, if anybody wants to go anywhere else, that's fine as well. Like I said, there are other people here, so if you did want to split up, you're welcome to do that. But he will definitely assign you a shadow if you do that. So you all tell me, are you splitting up? I'm looking through this gallery by yourself, or are you going to different exhibits?
I would probably say split up. So, Koji, you said you're going to Melting City?
I can go to Whispers in the Mist.
Okay.
I will join you, Mr. Maxwell.
Okay. So we'll start with Melting City. So Koji, you head into I wouldn't call it an octagonal room, but it's certainly not, it's close to that. But you can see there are these shapes that are painted different colors, mostly whites and blacks, and occasionally a gray, like this sort of middle grade, that extend out in these different places throughout the room. Sometimes up, like this, like a cube will pop out like 5-10 feet up in the ceiling, or excuse me, up the wall. You can see like a triangle, almost pyramid shape, drooping down from the top. And you can see that there is various machinery. Sometimes there are these projectors coming out of these nooks in the ceiling. Some of them are coming out of the ground. Some of them are coming out of the walls. And there definitely seems to be a few of the gallery workers that are testing. And so when you walk in here, at times it looks blank, but at other times, once the holograph machines are sort of clicked on, you can see that what it does is it seems to throw these filters onto these blank shapes, and the different colors causes different shades here and there. And what you effectively see is this impression of LA. And you've flown across LA before. You've been in the spinner, so you've gotten a look at LA in ways that the average person really doesn't. Like the poor don't necessarily get the opportunity. Those living on the ground or low floors aren't regularly up in spinners flying about, but you are as an LAPD. And so you can see very familiar sections. Now, the place is certainly, like I said, impressionistic. So you can see like these deliberate strokes. Like they're not real physical strokes, but they're somehow digitally recreated. And it kind of creates this impression that like LA is sort of melting down and sort of everything's got this motion to it. And you can see things like the Wallace Core building. You can see that big brutalist monstrosity that is the LAPD headquarters. So you can see what looks like, the financial district and it's all its glory and splendor. But you can see this occasionally popping in and popping out. And so there's all these different strange blocks and nooks and crannies around this large octagonal room. And there's all this different machinery. What do you want to do in here?
Is it in the process of being set up? Or is it all?
Yeah, they're definitely setting up and going through like test runs for sure.
I'll ask if all these galleries are owned by Kiani, if she made the artworks.
Sure. And so that's an easy answer. And like, yes, Miss Kiani is a very talented artist. She is transcendent. She can appreciate the past and all its beauty, but also look forward to the present, to the future, but never discount the present day. And like they'll like throw this piece against the wall and they'll say, watch how it almost seems like the time lapsing as our own miscare and mistreatment of the city, of the country, of the planet has effectively ruined our once glorious way of life. And now we're in this dark place with rain dripping down. They get very highfalutin with their language, and they use probably about 100 words more than they need to answer your question.
Yeah, and I'll break them down a bit to see how the logistics of the gallery go on, like the procedures. Like how long is it a path that people take, or is it free roaming?
It will be free roaming for the first hour or two, but eventually there will be a special event at approximately 90 minutes into the showing, where Portia herself will introduce something new, something that I don't even have access to, that I haven't seen. It's a new project that she's apparently been working on all by herself, and we're all extraordinarily excited. If it's anything like what we've seen in her work prior, it only gets better and better, more precise, but also it speaks even greater volumes than what has come before.
Is this part of it?
This? No. This is older work. This is work that has been around. She's been, well, honestly, I don't want to overstate what I know. And you're just speaking to one of the people setting up. This is just a faceless person in the gallery, gallery prep. But this is some of her older work. The Melting City, I believe she first premiered it about 7 months ago within Fiamma. I think she does have pieces that might go back longer than that, but the full display that you see here wasn't entirely completed till 6 or 7 months ago.
And I'll have a look around. Don't let me get in your way while they're setting up.
Please be careful what you touch. There are things in here that are quite valuable. Even some of the setup pieces, and she points to some of those really blank geometric shapes. A slight, very, very slight movement of these places could drastically throw some of the projections off. So please be very careful with what you move. And if there's anything you need to see or need to be moved, please call one of us over so we can handle it.
Understood.
So is there something in particular you're looking for? Is there something you're searching for? Is there You tell me.
Yeah. Let's just see if anything stands out that's not really part of the art.
Okay. Let's go with an observation test. Let's just say that. So go ahead and give us an observation.
You
Is
notice
anybody
a
in here
strange
with him?
device.
Anyone in here with him? Faye, if you want to roll as well, or if you want to assist him, either one.
Yeah, I have a
That's fine.
concussion, so when I try to look at things and I see double,
Oh no.
Hmm.
so I have disadvantage on them.
Okay.
Still
me roll.
try.
Yeah.
Faye, you
I
can
think
roll
it'd be
too.
funny
Yeah.
if you saw like the pipe bomb with like the stereotypical wires coming off of it.
Faye is gonna be looking for like air vents and stuff like that, possibly that might have things in them.
Sure.
Disadvantage, I still got one success.
Okay, one success for Koji. Looks like a fail for Faye.
I'm pushing.
Okay. All right. Faye also got a success.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, I'll start with you, Faye, since you were very specific in what you were looking for. So you're checking things like vents. Absolutely, there are. This is a well-regulated, climate-controlled area, and as you go through some of these vents, and you don't really get any strange looks because they don't really seem to be impacting the displays. You look inside. There's nothing there. Like you flash your light around. You see. You also, I would say, notice that the vents themselves look to be in relatively good condition. Doesn't look like they've been broken or busted or pried or anything like that. And when you look down them, they're small. They're not big enough for a person to crawl through or anything like that. Maybe like, you can reach down, or maybe a small child could, but a person, like a grown person, couldn't do it. But no, there's nothing in here that catches your attention and makes you think that something's been hid. Koji, you're looking around, stuff that's out of place. You notice, and maybe you even are drawn to it because of the guy that you were speaking with, was, as he moves away from you and you do a sweep of the room, you can hear like an exasperation start to weigh on his voice as he's talking to another worker. And apparently one of these central geometric rectangles, like that's propping up out of the ground, and then surrounded, you can see all these other shapes as well. It almost looks like these sort of pasty, abstract skyscrapers without anything being projected onto them. He's complaining that something's wrong. Like the texture is off, or the measurements are off. And every time he throws on this little holograph, he throws it onto the, where it's supposed to be projected, and even you can probably see with your one observation that something is displaying improperly. And you hear him just talking about how this was fine yesterday, it was fine the day before, and now suddenly something's wrong. And like someone with their gorilla fingers or something like that is going around causing problems. And he kind of looks over at you when he says that, and then it continues.
I'll walk up to that part and see if I can get a closer look. Can you open that? Is it hollow?
If I open it, then it might take... we don't have that kind of time. Guests are going to be arriving in less than an hour. I can't... if I open it now, I might just compound the problem. Is this really necessary?
If you say it's out of place and no one's been touching it, currently looking for something.
Fine. And so they reach into this belt. They have like this tool belt, this utility belt. They pull out what looks to be some basic hand tools, and you see them very carefully pry open a panel. And it surprises you to see that like it's very metallic. It has like a teeny sound to it. And when you look inside, I would say with one observation, it looks like there's some scrapes or something in here. But there's nothing inside. It looks like it has been slightly damaged on the inside, but you don't see anything actually hiding within.
Has this always been damaged?
And you can see, no, it has not. And whoever did this, when I find out who it is, like as their voice gets really loud and threatening, like, I'm going to do the same thing, but 10 times worse to your face.
take just a slight longer glance at it, but if there's nothing really out of place, like, all right, thanks for your time opening that.
Okay. So when you say you're taking a slight longer glance, like, are you taking a different tactic or anything like that? Is there something else you're doing with it, or?
If there's a sort of pattern, or it's just like random
It
damage.
looks like it. I would say for free, no roll necessary. It looks like something scraped along the bottom. Maybe something was dragged in or pushed in a way. Like either dragged out and there was something metallic on the bottom, metal on metal scrape, or something was pushed in, it was sort of scraped, but there's nothing here currently.
Where were these pieces before they were installed?
These have been installed for months.
Really? Okay. Is there a subspace between this floor and the next floor below, or?
I'm sure there's some sort of space between, but we don't control the floor below this one.
Okay.
So why you two think? Let's kick over to Lawton for a bit. So Lawton, you have been in LAPD headquarters for a bit. You most recently did a deep dive into Portia Chiani, but you are here by yourself. You're at your console for the Esper wall. What would Lawton be up to?
Maybe you could tell me, would I feel like there's any way I could track down more evidence of me forgetting things or tampering with evidence that I don't remember? Would there be any like digital fingerprints or tracks that I could follow just to see what else I might have changed?
Where are you looking for this? So are you talking about like within the LAPD database on the
within
wall?
Yes. Yeah. Or is that just too broad of a thing?
So we can do it. I would say roll tech. If you're narrowing it specifically to like cases that you might have been involved in, or cases that might be related.
I would try to search for things that have my name on them, or like my username logged into to edit, anything like that.
Okay.
You said tech.
Yeah, so it would be a tech.
Right. Rolling my new lolly dice.
Very nice.
1 success.
Okay. I would say, with 1 success. So things you've already discovered is that you've kind of done something for the records of both Ty Walter and Joe Hula, where they're like DNA, like they're composite. When you registered it, it was the imagery that we're getting, the name that was associated with that was not, and like the names and the faces were not the same. So like you kind of mixed the records up, possibly. I would say that with 1 success, you don't really find anything connected to the people of interest within this investigation. If you start digging back through your old files, you would find that, you would probably find something along the lines of, trying to think of how to phrase this in a way that sort of makes sense. You certainly have a history of working on this wall, logging in, logging out. And one of the things you noticed is that you change your logs, like meaning how long you've been on it, when you've been in the system, that kind of thing. So it's just, there seems evidence that for some reason, like you've been trying to make it seem like you're not in the system as often as you really are. And this goes back a ways. This isn't just recent. Like this is years.
That's what I was going to ask.
Years and years of this.
I've been on the force for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Would there be any records before that 3 years? And like basically, what would be the first instance I could find, and what would be the last, like most recent?
So you've been on the force for 3 years, and that does seem to be consistent. But one thing you do notice is that because you've already discovered the way in which you manipulated Walter's and Hualau's files to sort of obfuscate some of it, you actually notice that you did this. You apparently did something very similar, like the technique of doing so, to your own from 3 years ago when you first. So, like your personnel file has many of the same tactics, many of the same techniques that you would see as it's displayed with these other suspects.
There would be no way to rebuild what I changed, though, correct?
No, you don't think so.
Yeah.
And you also only had one success. Like, if you want to push to try to get
that's
second.
fair. That's fair. No, I won't push.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I think after I would sort through that, if I have time in the shift, I would pack my bags and get out of headquarters and try to meet up with them.
Okay. Yeah. So we can say you're doing it. If that's what you want to do, no problem. Okay. We'll go back and we'll say Everett and Arlie. Where did you two head to?
The Whispers in the Mist exhibit.
Okay, Arlie, you joined him for this, so we're
Yes, I did.
moving into. Okay, perfect. So you head over to the Whispers in the Mist. It's not, entirely different, but essentially what you're seeing is when you walk in, you don't see like an actual cityscape the way that I described Faye and Koji's. This is a much more surrealistic depiction where you see this kind of ethereal landscape, things that are only described in history books or people who are very old that can describe some of these things. But they're all created in a way that suggests a level of abstraction. It certainly seems, and probably if you listen to some of the people that are working in here, it was some of her more experimental work, especially with abstraction. And you notice also that there are a significant amount of just symbols. And you hear like she got into like street art, like influences were street art, were old hieroglyphics, things like that, ways of sort of communicating ideas through imagery. And I'll just give this to you for free. Both of you notice more than once this eye kind of pops up, and it's not combined with the wake up, image. You don't see the whole thing, but you do see that exact same eye. Like it looks identical to the way that you've seen it crop up here and there.
So, what was the shape of the room again? Octagon or square?
Yours is this sort of parallelogram with these angled walls here and there. It's and like you can see a few of them are rounded as well. So it kind of creates this sort of unpredictable layout to the room where it just like you almost feel kind of uncomfortable when the lights start flickering and going through, as it creates this effect where you almost kind of feel out of sorts, discombobulated in some way.
Is the art set up in a way where it's like on the edges of all of the walls and then like some pieces in the center and you kind of like rotate around it, or is it?
Yeah, so very, very similar to the way it was described with Faye and Koji. Much of her work is like about kind of this holographic projection on things, but it's not just on the walls. You can see that there are these different devices that seem to almost motion sensor, pick up movement, turn, point, face, drape people in their various, in their clothing here and there. And so that you can see on yourself this sort of display of what is supposed to be there. It's way more mobile than the one that Faye and Koji in, which is way more static in terms of its locations.
Everett will turn to Arlie and say, so where would you put a bomb if you wanted to hit as many people as possible? I would expect it to be in the center of the room, but this exhibit seems like people could be spread all over.
Well, I'll do some quick calculations, and I would probably need to find something that would be able to house the equipment and not be viewed. And so I'll kind of look for something that seems you could hide something inside.
Yeah. So you can roll an observation test if you like. But you do notice, I would say very clearly, that there is a slope to the room as you move in, almost as if everything is sort of draining into the center. And at the center, it's not a very steep slope, but you can feel it. It's very subtle. And at the very center of this room, you can see there's this strange diamond-shaped drain with this sort of like raised platform above it, and these different vertical like rebar that seems to be connecting this very tiny platform to this hole in the middle. That is not a bad place. There are also plenty of what looks like panels along the walls, which seem to be housing some of the holographic, machinery. You can see very subtly painted wires that are sneaking up out from behind those panels and connecting to some of those holographic projectors. So just from that, you would think those are decent enough places that maybe would work.
Okay. And I did get a success on my observation.
So if you get down on your hands and knees and you stick your head underneath that platform at the center and get a flashlight out, if you were reassigned one from when you lost it, and you see that there is this chamber that is, again, has that pale, like sort of diamond shape. It's hollowed out. It's very reflective. It's mirror-like. And you notice that there is a subtle crack in the mirror, but you don't see anything in here. And it definitely looks like something heavy was mistakenly placed, perhaps, in this small chamber. And there's a very small fracture. I would say, Everett, if you're looking at the other ones, if you're kind of opening up some of those panels on the walls, most of that is chock full of machinery. Like there's just not a whole lot of room. So you don't, so like, and everything's pretty tightly, tightly packed in there. And not only that, but the people who are coming in and setting up, they're regularly opening every panel, checking a few things, tweaking some, so that they're constantly going in and out of it. No one seems to be coming down to this like central drain.
So I'm not sure if this is something that we would have on us necessarily. I'm pretty sure Mr. Stone probably would. But I'm wondering if this is a scenario to like look for residue, perhaps to try to like, do we have some little CSI-ish kind of a something or another that we could like swab an area, see if it changes colors?
Do you have a tech kit? I know that Lawton Stone has something like that. I think he's got. Don't you? Didn't we were saying like Lawton was carrying something? You got rings. Is it official or?
I don't actually have inventory. I just have a specialty for, as a scientist, I get advantage to tech and medical aid rolls.
Because you have your Kia, and so your Kia is certainly capable of doing some basic, some very basic forensic data collection and stuff. So you certainly could do that. And I will say, since you brought it up, since you have your Kia, since we'll say that it has been modified somewhat to collect things. And not only that, but because Arlie, you specifically worked with Lawton, you actually get a very faint like residue or sort of that sort of signature, that similar signature that was popping up in the Kipple Waste, that popped up in the workshop where the bombs were being crafted, that popped up within the very Chemplast warehouse. Same thing here. It's very faint. It is not the type of thing that would randomly pop up in a place. It's not like asbestos. This is really out of place. But it's barely a blip. It gives you the impression that something maybe was here, but was taken away.
Okay. So Arlie will kind of get on the Kia to make sure that everyone's aware. Kind of direct it, because I think we're all kind of connected. So kind of to Mr. Stone, I must say that I am grateful for your tenacity in assessing the type of substance that we were looking for, because we have actually found that substance here in a place that it definitely should not be.
I don't know if you should tell me this. I don't know if you can trust me.
Oh, hogwash, of course we can. This was your research that led us to everything that we have found so far. Ms. Harcrow, Mr. Sunru, have you discovered any? And I'll kind of give an update that, looks like we found something, or something used to be, and it was definitely questionable. Have you found any such thing?
Yeah, we found heavy movement. Something's been here. Moved out of the exhibit.
Yeah, it looks like it might have been like a storage spot.
Perhaps this is how these items were brought in, undetected.
Definitely makes sense. We'll have to keep looking. Just a couple more exhibits.
So, Arlie, you would know that wouldn't actually make sense, especially since Faye and Koji heard that that your specific exhibit has been in place for several months. And Arlie, and that, like most of these the only thing they knew is in that central main gallery area, and there's not even anything really there. It's just like this big opening space. But in terms of like them getting it in here, they would have had to got it in here 5, 6, 7 months ago. And at least in the case of Faye, like you've seen Warwick and engaged with him, spoke with him, hung out with him, a month ago. It's only been the last few weeks where he's kind of become this distant, disappeared person. So the timeline seems a little off on that. So if the four of you converge, if you want, on the last of the three.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so I was about to say, let's go to Cityscapes in Flux.
So what you see in Cityscapes in Flux is essentially famous cityscapes from around the world, both modern day and throughout history. All of it's kind of imbued in that same kind of impressionistic style, but it has this kind of flickering, almost cartoon-like effect that shows like this exaggerated deconstruction and destruction of these cities. But I'll say with what you've seen so far, the four of you start poking around, looking, and you find evidence of the exact same thing. So something was placed here, as was instructed in the messages, but it's not here now.
So we do know that Hu Lao escaped. So there's a very good chance that he's reached out to them to let them know that the mission's compromised and they might have changed things.
Seems like the best chance they have. Why would they delay their actions?
It does seem that they would want to not take a risk to not get their target. I think it just means we need to look a little bit further.
So the lady who's the artist of the show, she has the tattoo, by the way. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that, but so there's a very good chance that she's also part of this group, potentially, like sympathies, and now she has this new exhibit that's going to be a surprise 90 minutes into the show. Faye's gonna look for, what was his name? Gibbons?
Agent Gibbs.
Agent Gibbs.
He's been shadowing you, staying out of your way, letting you do your thing, but he or one of his people have been shadowing you the whole time.
Agent Gibbs, do you know where she's keeping the items for her surprise show?
I do not know. As far as I know, there is no items that are on display. Most of her work, as you can see, is light projection on surfaces of different shapes and such. So I believe that the main gallery has already been laid out how it's supposed to be laid out. It's according to Chaz, and everything's in place. But there's no physical objects that I'm aware of that have been cleared with my people.
And do you know?
Listen. Sometimes, you get it wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's no shame in it. You guys got it wrong. You dotted your I's, you crossed your T's. It's good. You came here making sure no one gets hurt. That's good. It's noble. You should be proud of that. But I think maybe your intelligence is a little off on this one.
But don't you think it's a bit coincidental that two different, or we saw evidence of something in the third exhibit too, right?
Yeah, all three of them. Yeah, whether you share that.
Yeah, so would it be safe to say that we took pictures of that I could show him and say? So I guess I'd ask the group, are we okay with showing pictures of this to someone not in our group?
Yeah,
I
we're
mean,
sharing this info.
yeah, he was
'cause-
shadowing.
Okay.
Think of your
So-
promotion points.
It's last session.
Yeah, so then Everett will show the images on the Kia and say, don't you think it's a little too coincidental?
Listen, man, there's an old saying, when you, from way back in the day, when you, was something along the lines of when you see hoof prints, you don't think zebra, it's a horse. And what I see here is I see some damage, sure, some slight damage, but this is also a gallery that's been open for months now. It's going to happen. So I don't know. There's nothing here.
Who do we need to talk to get access to the sub area so we can look below?
It's not her family's work. It's not her family's location. It's someone else's. I'm not sure. I think we did a sweep. Hang on 1 second. And he's like, hey, Henrietta. And you can see he kind of steps away, kind of communicates here and there. And like after a moment or two, he'll return and he'll just say, yeah, it's just another family, affluential as you might expect this high up, Sacco family. They are currently getting ready to host a dinner party. I think the upper floors, at least, are going to be cleared out, but I don't think there's anything to worry about. My people did a nice sweep. We spoke with them, went through proper channels. There's nothing there to be worried about. We checked them. We checked the vents, checked closets, checked everything. Everything's on the up and up, man. I just think you're grasping for straws. I get it. I've been there.
I mean,
think you
sure,
guys are
it's not
just
my
wrong in
job
this
on the
one.
line. Yeah, that's fine to say. When these people die, though, where do you think you'll be able to work?
Can Arlie do like an insight test or something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Starting to get a little bad taste in my mouth about this guy here. I'm going to take one of our boosts here. So this will be a 8 to 10.
So that's multiple successes.
No,
Oh, no, you haven't rolled
sorry.
them, sorry.
The die size. That was
Okay.
the die size that I was rolling. Well, poop. No.
Good push. Resolve. So you take resolve. Remember, you push. You take resolve damage if you roll a unicorn or 1.
Don't replicants take resolve no matter what?
Yeah, that's true. Which it's good that you know that rule.
Yeah, because that's why I didn't push earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm a replicant, I just didn't want to chance it.
You're a replicant? What? Melissa, are you pushing?
Sure.
We're killing time for you, Melissa.
Yeah, I don't know which is
That
which.
is a lolly and on a D8 and an 8 on the D10.
Okay, it's multiple successes. Okay, so I'll give you 2 things. So 1, he certainly is not being forthcoming. Like you can tell he is pushing, he wants you guys off the premises. And like you can tell that he's really pushing that. And secondly, when Everett showed him the photos, you can say you noticed a small little kind of glitch or hesitation as if he was kind of annoyed about something. Like you can see a touch of annoyance come to his face. It was very, very subtle. He has a very good poker face, but not that good. But you're definitely getting the sense he is not being truthful with you guys, and that he's hiding something, and he really would prefer you guys not to be here.
So Arlie is going to kind of intentionally kind of turn around and kind of make eye contact with everyone and just say, yes, I'm sorry. What was your name again?
Me, I'm Agent Gibbs.
Yes, Agent Gibbs. And she's going to make sure that the Kia is turned on for Mr. Stone to be able to hear this as well. Mr. Gibbs, it really does seem as if you would be
Agent
much
Gibbs,
more
please.
interested in ensuring, and she does not correct herself, in ensuring the safety of everyone this here, including your employer. And it really does not seem as if you are interested in that. You seem much more interested in shooing us away.
There's a charity event this night. I gave you all plenty of time. My people, myself, we shadowed you. We let you have the run of the place. You looked everywhere you wanted to look. You haven't found anything other than a few, illustrations of possible bad maintenance. I think you're jumping to conclusions here, all right? And you're making a panic where there doesn't necessarily need to be one. I understand you are an LAPD. You don't realize once you get to the level that I'm at, the office that I work for, these types of threats, they come in all the time. And we're very good at vetting whether or not they are real or whether or not they're just someone having a laugh.
How exposed is are we talking like right in the middle of the
you're in
lobby,
the middle
or
of
are we
the
kind of off
gallery.
to the side a little bit?
There's catering people, there's his own people, there's some of the gallery staff, all coming and going. Again, there's a clock ticking down. You can even see a digital clock starting to count down to when they first start showing up.
Harley is frustrated as crap at his like super low tone calmness. And like just she's gonna punch him in the nose. She's done.
Okay. Okay. So you're going to punch him.
I'm remembering that we're law enforcement and we don't have to discuss this nicely. And
You're losing promotion points left and right here.
I remember that we're law
It's
enforcement.
the last.
I remember
session.
that we're
I
law
can freely
enforcement.
just go punch this, this
Just
UN
like-
official who's here entirely legally. Okay. It's going to be, obviously it's going to be contested. Take advantage because it's going to be, this is coming out of nowhere. He's not expecting this. So you can take advantage, but it's still going to be contested. Let me see what he's got here.
Sorry, what am I rolling?
You're rolling hand to hand. You're punching him.
Hand to hand, yeah.
It's
Okay.
combat.
Maybe
So remember,
hand to
everything's
face.
contestant.
I'm gonna take another boost on
Yeah.
this.
It's a, okay.
Also, while they were talking, would I be able to look up and see what Agent Gibbs looks like on record in case someone's trying to just pass off as him?
Yeah, if you look up Lena Kova's office and you go through like head of personnel or head of security of her personnel, it matches. Everything matches. Looks exactly like what he's supposed to look like. All right, how'd you do? I got one success. How'd you
I
do,
also
Arlie?
got one success.
Okay, are you pushing?
So remind me of this. I currently have a 1 on one of my dice.
Right. So the winner hits the loser and inflicts damage. A tie means no one is hit. So basically, you're taking a swing and he is kind of brushing it off to the side, and you're,
All right, I'm gonna push. It's the last session.
Okay.
This guy's
It's the last session, so I'm gonna
annoying
get
me.
us thrown
Well,
into
she's-
the Hague. That's
Sorry to
something.
everyone
Okay,
else.
Jesus.
who
No, you're good.
I was just like, no, I'm done. You're annoying me. Yeah. So again, that is a lolly and an 8. So that's 2 successes.
All right. So what's the total amount of successes you have? 2 total.
2 total because an 8 is just
Okay.
1 success. So,
So
2 total.
you punch him. You punch him in the face.
Oh,
You
God.
can see his head turns. You can see a bit of blood kind of starts to trickle down his nose as he turns back to you with the, oh, that's it. Get your frickin' toaster oven out of this goddamn gallery. I'm reporting this to your superior. Your fucking ass is getting retired. Get her the fuck out of my face right now. Right now.
Well,
I'm
Arlie.
saying that to everyone else. Yeah.
What was that all about, Arlie? What are you doing?
He is clearly impeding our investigation. If nothing else, he should be handcuffed and set off to the side while we actually complete our work.
Impeding it. He was
Not
just giving
under
us a
his-
suggestion. We don't have to go beating him up.
He's really not. He is very clearly hiding information. He very clearly knew that something had happened with those. He knows more than he's letting on, and he's trying to shoo us out of here and get
Based
people
on
killed.
what? You haven't
Is-
said anything.
Is everyone's attention on Arlie and
Yes, everyone's attention is now on this, and he is livid, and he is
Can I
like,
s-
yeah. Go ahead. What do you want to do?
Can I stealth away? Like just
Yeah, go ahead. Go
quietly?
ahead. Roll it. Take advantage because everyone's attention is drawn to this. I'm still going to roll,
Okay.
contested, but you can take advantage
Melissa,
on it.
Do we have any boosts left?
Yes, we do.
I'll take one because I have a D6 for my stealth.
No, wait. You're rolling stealth. I'm rolling observation. What am I doing? Sorry, roll the wrong one.
I got 1 success.
Okay. That is more than me. You get out. Which way do you go? Where do you head?
Everett, not really knowing the lay of the land, wants to try and find like a stairwell or something to go through those subspaces to see, just to look around.
Okay. So you're looking to go down. I would say you don't actually find a staircase going down. You do find a staircase going up to this VIP area where there's a fancy looking bar and everything that's up there, but you don't see anything going down. And like you're doing this quick from the central gallery, and there's different places that are going different locations, but do you want to go up there, or do you want to keep, because you're, so this is an art gallery, and the people who own the levels below this are somebody else. So like the idea that this thing is connected, because the floors above this are essentially where the Chiani family owns the floors above this, and this is the lowest.
Maybe
floor.
I misunderstood the first room's description. Then I thought they mentioned some like kind of like subspace where stuff was going on. I'm thinking like a crawl space or
no. I asked if there
idea.
was like a subspace between floors, but that was just me.
Oh,
there's always going to be
heard
space between floors in the construction of a building. And you guys are on the 300th floor of this building.
Yeah.
And there's still like another 100, and half of those are owned by the Chiani family.
Well, it was also the
somebody
drain.
else.
That diamond-shaped drain made me think that there was some like basement. I know we're in the middle of a building, but okay.
I'll give it to you that like part of that display is this idea of like a dry ice fog type thing, and that's where a lot of that's coming from.
Oh,
So-
okay, cool.
If up is the only way, I guess Everett will go into the bar and at least see if there's people there that he can like talk with, or some other doors where he can get to other areas.
All right, so we'll say you go up, but let's go back to the moment, because this moment is actually pretty important. This guy is livid. This guy is on his comms. This guy is contacting his office. You can hear him already starting to report. He looks to Faye. He looks to Koji. What is her serial number? Who is she? Identification now, right now.
Faye is like, because Koji's yelling at Arlie. Faye is immediately calling Chief Holden because shit, we got fucked up. But because also, didn't we find residue of the
you did
substance?
you found a small, it's not residue, but you like, remember we were doing like a radiation thing. I don't know if the science is right on it, who cares, but like that, some very, very faint evidence there.
Yeah, so Faye wants to bring it up that to Holden that we found that, but they're trying to kick us out.
All right, we need to deal with this.
Yeah.
I want to stress this for everybody. Arlie is a Nexus 9 replicant. When she behaves strangely, which is like telling someone to fuck off, she has to take a baseline test. She just punched a UN security agent completely for no reason. And like, she has her reasons, but on the surface for completely no reasons. And he is calling in, and when he said she needs to be retired, that means she's going to get killed. Like, this is the type of thing, like what Arlie just did is an extremely egregious thing to do. So he is livid. You guys are getting closed in upon by Agent Gibbs' people, and he wants her number. So when you call, like, you can call Deputy Chief Holden, but like, stuff's going to happen while you're doing that then.
I'll break in between them. Agent Gibbs, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's gotten in Arlie, but
these fucking toasters, I swear to God. I don't know why we ever made them.
Oh, you're right, though.
I'm all right. We can't even make a freaking display screen that doesn't sometimes go on the fritz. We think we can just reproduce humans and think that they're not going to freaking go off like this. These psychopaths. I don't want anything to do with this shit. What is her designation now? Right now. And he's got his finger like right on your chest, Koji, as he's doing that.
Do you really need it? Is it necessary?
Oh, it's necessary. And you see like he motions to his face. It's necessary.
And if I don't give it to you,
I'm going to be able to find it one way or the other. And if I have to find it the hard way, and it ain't going to be that hard, I got people in the LAPD. You think Kova doesn't have pull there? She's got pull there, my friend. All right. I don't know how far back you go on the force, but she was chief there once. And if you think I can't pull this information, you're dead wrong. So if you want to get out from under this, you give me that now. I leave your name out of this, or at least I say you were cooperative.
Oh, I completely understand. And the way you're bad-mouthing these replicants right now, what if I told you the setup, the replicants, they're planning this?
Enough
She
with this
ob-
shit, man.
She
Enough with
obviously
it.
needs a baseline.
You've looked around. There's nothing here. Enough. Get off the premises. Take your freaking little pet. Get her the hell back to headquarters. I don't want to see your faces here again. And if she has a badge come morning, I swear to you, I'm coming for you. You got me?
Don't worry, I'll give you it. And we'll get out of your hair.
Okay.
But what we told you, it's set in stone. I'll give you the information, just leave.
Go. So he's like had enough. He wipes his, and he's like you can see a few of his people are kind of following you, making sure you leave. Faye, are you going with them?
Yeah.
Okay. So the only one left.
Am I going to be showing up right as they?
Yeah,
release?
you better get in.
Here comes the LAPD spinner for Lawtonstone landing right as Arlie, Faye, and Koji are getting escorted by formal dressed UN plainclothes operatives. Like these are agent security personnel, I should say, that are escorting you all out to your own spinner. And now here comes Lawton, and they kind of just wait, and they're waiting for you to load up. And I'll say, Lawton, you land. You can see that.
So I would see them like getting ready to load up.
I think we had comms on, so you definitely heard.
I did.
We got kicked out. Yeah.
I would want to come out hot and yelling at Arlie. Arlie, what the fuck? Deputy Chief Holden's calling me in. You got to come in for a baseline. I'm taking you right now.
Sure thing, Mr. Stone. Sure thing. No one here is at all interested in the truth, so I suppose we might as well just keep this charade going. But she'll
keep this shit locked up until you get your baseline. Holden's breathing down my neck. Get in the spinner.
Yes, Mr. Stone.
You hear some of the crowd, like some of the people who escort you, just sort of laughing at this point. Another toaster on the fritz, shit like that. They're saying awful things as like you just kind of lead her into the spinner at that point. They're just kind of laughing. No role necessary. They believed it. Koji and Faye, what about you two?
Yeah, they wish to escort off the premises, so I will comply.
Okay. Now, in the commotion, they didn't notice that Everett snuck away. And so, Everett, you are upstairs. There is a beautiful bar. And you can see everything is backlit. There are all sorts of high shelf liquors, plenty of things up here, bartenders that are getting set up. You actually don't see any of the security personnel up here. It really just looks like workers for the gallery, or excuse me, I should say caterers. You don't even see gallery workers up here. What do you want to do?
Are there bathrooms?
Sure.
He's going to go into the men's restroom.
Okay. You head into the men's restroom. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This thing is probably worth more than the entire, like the entire floor of your building.
Okay. I've not been in a fancy bathroom in life because that's not, but I've seen them in movies. Is there like grooming stuff on the counters, like to freshen up or whatever?
Aftershaves and colognes and stuff?
Aftershaves.
Yeah. Sounds great to me. We'll say yeah.
Okay.
There's a guy, Harvey Keitel, sitting right next to you waiting for you to tip. That's an old SNL reference. Sorry.
Is there... Would it be safe to say that there's like a razor or scissors or something in there?
A razor's probably too much. But sure, we'll say there's a drawer. We can say there's some scissors. That's fine. I don't think a razor makes sense, but scissors we'll say.
Okay. Everett's going to do the best that he can to disguise himself, or at least not look like himself. So he's going to like shave. Well, I don't know how well he can do with scissors, but he's going to cut all his hair off. He's going to basically try and have like super short hair, clean face. He's going to take off his clothes. He has an undershirt, of course, but he's going to, he's going hardcore and like undercover.
Okay. Derek, I'm going to need you to step away and cut your hair off. and then come back in proper time. Okay, let's do a probably. I mean, this is probably stealth again. How many successes did you have on your initial roll? Just the one?
Yeah, just one.
So I'll say this is going to be let's make it a stealth test again, or yeah, I think a stealth makes sense here. Roll a stealth test is really just to disguise yourself, just the quality of it.
Do we by chance still have more bonuses?
We do.
I'm going to use one then because I need it. All right. And this is normal one this time, right?
Yeah, this is just normal.
Cool.
Well, actually, I mean, you can take your time with it. So
another success. It's just one.
All right. So I will say that you do a decent enough job to disguise yourself as so you don't look exactly like what you did when you walked in here. So certainly you're not going to you're not going to fool Faye or Koji or Lawton or Arlie. Like that's not going to happen. But some random folks that don't necessarily know what you look like that you're a cop. Yeah, sure. Like I think you could probably pass for it. Yeah.
Okay. He'll leave like his trench coat and I guess any other like clothing items that he'll leave them in like the top tank of a toilet, like lift the lid, put it in there, put the lid back on top. So tries to leave everything in order. All of the hair, of course, he just flushes down the toilet. And then he's going to go back out into the bar.
Poor plumbing.
And then he's going to grab a drink and try and chat with the bartender.
Okay. So they hand you over this, whatever it is you order. And they kind of look up at the clock and like they're still like you can see there's like these countdowns to when they open up. There's still like 15 minutes or so before like the doors are opening to the public, and they still make you the drink because like if you're in here, like they assume you're probably supposed to be in here and they don't necessarily know who you're at. But they might say something along the lines of starting early.
Yeah, I always get nervous with crowds, so this kind of helps take the edge off,
Well, I think that's going to be a very big one tonight, I can tell you that. Very all the important people, big wigs. Lots of money getting thrown around in here.
That's what I've been hearing. I also heard some people mumbling about checking things for some reason. Real weird folks down there. Some shouting at some point. That's why I came up here. It just made me super anxious.
Oh, that's just the security folks. They've been here all day, to be honest. They've been coming and going. Yeah. They've been a kind of a pain. But hey, if it keeps us safe, it keeps us safe, so we can just relax and enjoy ourselves, But
of course.
But yeah, they've had their fingers in things. I'll tell you that. Whenever they bring one of them UN bigwigs down, they're just poking and prodding in all of the displays. They went through all my bottles. I had to rearrange all my shelves. That was ridiculous.
They didn't rough anyone up, did they, while they were checking all your guys' belongings?
Oh no, they just thought they owned the place, lifting this up, looking that stuff. Like he opens up. He's like, if you look down here, opens up one of these cabinets. They just opened this up, shined 1,000 lights around, moved some things in a bit, and then I had to go back in and fix it all. Broke 2 of my bottles. Wasn't top shelf, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's good. Did you make sure you bill them for it? I'm sure they can afford it. Did they put
for sure.
anything? Like, are they just like, I mean, it can't be that hard to look for stuff. You have a flashlight. Are they bringing in like the heavy equipment and putting stuff down too? Or like,
no,
why are they roughing so much stuff up?
I heard they took a few things from some of the exhibits, but I don't know what it was. But no, I mean, they apologized, but not, sincerely for breaking the bottles. But they apologized, said, invoice it or whatever.
They actually confiscated something that I brought in with me as a little relic piece of technology. They said that could be dangerous. Do you know if they have like an office where I could go and see like this, like get my belonging back before I leave? They didn't mention anything. They just took it and left.
Well, yeah, I mean the gallery has offices, sure, but no offense, sir, but it's not really for guests.
Even if it's just to pick up my little doodad?
I would imagine that you'll be able to pick it up on your way out if they confiscated something.
That's what I mean. They didn't tell me anything. This like, they broke your bottle and they were like, bill me. They just took it and they're like, they didn't say anything. They just left.
Well, I'm not really... Yeah, I don't think Miss Kiani is going to like it if I give someone access to her private offices. So
Everett will take a bit of a gamble here, and I
Punch
have a
him in the nose.
chinion point. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck. I have a chinion point. Could I use that in a situation like this for like a bribe?
Yeah, I'll do it. I still think it's gonna roll manipulation. You can take advantage with your
Okay.
chinion, and we'll see how it goes. Roll manipulation, chinion, and okay, one success is fine.
Okay.
Okay, fine, but you have to be out before it starts. I know she's not going to be here right when the doors open. I know she's going to be coming in with her grand entrance, but if Chaz goes back there and sees that you're in there, and well, he doesn't look like much, but he'll rip your face off. I've seen it. So
Yeah, I mean, I won't mention you at all. It's my great grandmother's. A lot of sentimental value. I'm sure you can understand. So
Oh.
I really want to get it back and get the hell out of here before everyone shows up. And
I didn't even know my grandmother. That's interesting. Great. Yeah, but no, this way. And so they'll lead you to the office. Let's cut to the rest of you. So the rest of you, what are we doing?
It's a really great question, Jeff. It's a really good one.
Melissa decided to punch a dude in the face. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
It was
Definitely. It's,
I liked it, but like
I
done
did
with
too.
him.
When I get Arlie in the spinner, I would take off and my demeanor would entirely change. I'd take a couple pills and just turn to Arlie. I'm spiraling. What's going on? Do you need a baseline? Are you close to baseline, or what does this mean?
I don't need a baseline. He has something to do with it. So he is very clearly placed in such a position that he can hinder our investigation so that we don't find what is there. But I strongly believe that he is hiding information, and I do believe that he was thwarting our investigation. And she'll sort of look over to Faye and Koji and just say, I thought that perhaps I might get some backup from the individuals that were in the room with me, but it seemed that you all were just interested in placating Mr. UN Man in the nice suit. So my calculation on what would happen
That's
with
like
the team
punching
was-
Chief Holden in the fucking face. You don't do it.
Well, if Chief Holden were about to lead to the death of possibly hundreds of individuals here, I would punch him in the face if I thought that would lead to a safer outcome for everyone present. Apparently, you believe otherwise. Mr. Stone, though, we will get through this. We will get through this. I think you are processing information, and you are perhaps close to a revelation. It does not appear that you are quite there yet, but I will be here to support you when you do.
Arlie, I don't know where you get off punching UN officers in the face, but you don't survive 11 years on the force going and punching people willy-nilly. When you get back, you're getting an immediate baseline. I'm going to have to find another way in.
Well, it does appear that Mr. Maxwell made good use of, again, what for no reason, it appears that you are not hearing the words that I'm saying, that there is absolutely cause for that. It was not willy-nilly, as you say. There was reason for it. But again, I did not have the support of my team, so that is duly noted. Mr. Stone,
Arlie,
you were successful in your theatrics. I appreciate that.
Are they going to retire you?
Damn good chance.
Yeah,
That is
she
Not to take away
punched
from the moment here, I have to ask: are we all four in the same spinner?
I thought
And if
Cookie
so,
and I
who's
were
in the
in a
back
different
I'm gonna say
spinner.
two and two.
So,
Yeah, before loading
so
up.
We're
But
on
you can
comms.
talk. We'll say
Yeah.
you can be on comms.
Okay. I had a mental image of like two people in the back seat like crowding forward. I just couldn't shake it. I'm sorry. I would mute the comms then while Arlie and I are there, like not turning it off, just muting our side. Arlie, if they could retire you, I got to get you out of here.
that seems unlikely to lead us to a successful resolution to the situation that we find ourselves in. Or is our job still not to attempt to stop whatever explosion or whatnot is supposed to happen at this art show?
Screw the job. You could die.
Well, yes, we are law enforcement officers. That is always a possibility.
All right, I unmute us. We got to solve this case before she goes in for a baseline.
We got MaxWell in there, but I'm going to find a way in.
As you say that, you get a picture of Everett. He sends to all of you with his head shaven or close to shaven, saying "New Year, new me."
Everett, what are you on about? Who is this?
It's me. I'm incognito, as they say.
Oh, jeez. Got you.
Not only that, you're in the office of Portia Chiani in the gallery. Whether she uses this or not, you're not entirely sure. But it's extraordinarily spacious, high ceilings. There's like a whole corner of the building that is just pure, glass panes. Everything's transparent. It can see the sort of the skyline of LA and various other buildings here and there. You're so high up. There's all sorts of like very sleek furniture, but you also notice that there is this beautiful desk right near like the corner where the two large glass window panes meet, and it looks to be probably where she works. A couple, looks like there's a place for for these sort of ornate couches where people can sit and talk as well. There's no one in here, but the bartender like who led you down here is like, I have to get back. But again, you've got looks down, looks up, at the clock, like you've got just a few minutes. All right, I'm serious, please. Okay.
I won't be of any trouble. Thank you very much.
You're inside Keanu's office. What do you want to do, Everett?
Okay. He wants to go over to the desk and see if there's anything in the drawers that have the symbol or references to the art pieces and explosives and stuff like that.
I'll say if you're specifically looking for that kind of stuff in the desk, you do not find any of it. There is a terminal on here. So there's a place where she could potentially log into a terminal, but you don't see any physical items within the desk other than what looks to be a pad of heavily recycled paper, a very ornate fountain pen on top of the desk, and kind of a writing area, but nothing like that. There are a couple like little tchotchkes, like these little crystal tchotchkes here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Is there a clipboard in here?
Clipboard? No, you don't see anything like that. It's too elegant for a clipboard.
He'll just take the fountain pen and pad of paper. Is it blank or is it written on?
It definitely looks like a few sheets have pulled off over time. It's not completely full, but it has been used.
Would I be able to get the light to reflect off it to see the impressions if they push their pen too hard on the blank paper?
So I'm sorry, say that again.
So like if I hold the paper up to like the light and like move it around to see if I can see like any shapes or writing made out from impressions.
It definitely looks like there was writing done. Yeah.
But not coherent.
It's hard to really tell because like there's been writing over time, so it doesn't look like they get torn off. So, but it definitely looks like she's written on it for sure.
Okay, I'll keep for my disguise. I'm going to keep the pad of paper and the pen because when you walk around with a clipboard and a pen, you look like you belong somewhere. And then I'm going to call Lawton and ask him how to break into a computer without throwing it out the window.
Okay.
Lawton, pick up your phone.
You think this is something I can just walk you through verbally?
I mean, is there a way I can get through the password without knowing the password? You're the tech guy, aren't you?
It takes decades to learn the security architecture, let alone how to hack into that.
You can't just tell me, okay, press this button, then press this button.
Type in password, see if that works.
I was going to do that in the middle of you lecturing me about decades of experience. Sure, he'll try password and see what that does. Do you really think an artist of this caliber and self-arrogance is going to have password as their password?
You're asking me to teach you how to hack over the phone.
Look, if you just tell me where to click and what button to press, I don't need to know it. I just need to follow instructions.
You need a different system. You need the program. You need to connect into their mainframe. It's not something you can do from that terminal.
How heavy are these computers?
I mean, it's definitely it's not like a laptop. It's the whole table thing. It's a classic thing. It's not the type of thing you can pick up and like carry underneath your arm on your way out.
Arlie will sort of lean in and just say, Mr. Maxwell, I try wake up.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. I'll try wake up.
And you log into the computer, actually. And you see the terminal pops up. It's got there's no graphics or anything on it. This is sort of retro tech, right? Retro future tech. So the idea of everything's sort of pixelated to some degree is all very text based. But you can see an interface pops up, blinking cursor, ready for input.
Okay. That worked, Arlie. Fantastic idea. I don't have much time. There's not like this isn't like a Gmail account that I can start reading messages on, right? Like I have to specifically know what to input.
So there's directory, there's various commands, things like that. Think of it like, old school, like Unix or DOS or stuff like that kind of stuff.
Okay. So Everett with a little bit of ice in his voice. Okay, Lawton, do you know what directories I should type, or should I just have Arlie guide me through this?
Right, take the tone down a notch, and I'll start like trying to walk him through.
Yeah, basically Everett's going to spend whatever time he can downloading anything related to the Wake Up group, or even I don't know if we found any other codes besides the name of the exhibits.
All right, so what I'll tell you
would that be me making tech roll?
So what I'll say is like you can see the basic directory is pretty much everything in here has to do with gallery. So everything from finances to various exhibits, displays, like tech, materials, stuff like that. Like everything on the surface, all of the directories seem to correspond to something related business or artistically to the actual place that you're in, Fiamma.
Wait, does this have information on the special exhibit nobody knows about then, since it's her terminal?
It indeed, if that's what you look for, you indeed find it.
All right. Does it?
Yeah. Look for that. We need that.
So
I'm going to
one of the things you notice,
that.
So what you notice is that as you start going through the various exhibits, some old, some current, you pick up a pattern. And I'll say because you're specifically asking for it, no roll necessary here. But you see that all of the directories, they're not like big folders, but they're kind of abbreviated as you quickly start shifting through them. And you realize that all of the directory or the files, the folder names are corresponding to the titles of the exhibits. I'm sorry, I got to go through my own little internal bookmark here. So you see things like, TMC, WITM, you see like CIF, you see EOT, you see TV, you see ED, and the one that seems newest based upon most recent activity is MOF.
Oh.
I'll open that.
You open it up and you can see that there are all sorts of subfiles pertaining to a project called Memories of Fire. And it seems to include what looks like video files, significant amount of video files, also some audio tracks, and you can see that there's no like new equipment. A lot of the equipment is sort of repurposed here and there, so it doesn't look like there's any like new tech that's being used, but there is a significant amount of video and audio files within here, and then a few specific images as well, image files, things like that.
Would I have enough time to upload all of this to everyone / the LAPD server.
Okay, so this is a time. This isn't an issue where you don't know how to do this. This is simple enough to do. This isn't hacking. This is just copy pasting files. So it's really just a question of how fast you are at doing this. So I'm gonna say roll a tech
Scenes
test.
from the movies where we watch the bar of the uploads.
Yeah, exactly.
See if anybody
Exactly
comes
what
in.
this is.
Oh no, a tech test. Oh god.
Roll a tech
Do we
test,
have
but I
any
will
bonuses?
give you
Yeah.
advantage because Lawton is talking you through it.
Right click. No,
It's Control
right
C, Control
click.
V, Control C, Control V.
No. Control A, select
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
then Control C,
Right.
then Control V.
Did you want a boost die anyway?
Yeah, I'm definitely taking one. My tech skill is
How
atrocious.
many boost dice can you take?
Success!
Can you take
You get everything, and at a certain point, as like it's close, you're looking up, you're seeing every room throughout the gallery has the same timer, and it's like a countdown timer, and you're looking at it, and eventually you copy things over. You see the clock tick down right as you get the last bits of files, and you hear the sound of this gong just echo throughout. You can feel the shaking of the glass panes that you're in the room with, and you can hear music just begin to blare at a much louder level, and you know that the gallery is starting to open. Those of you who are out in the spinners, if you're just sort of like circling around, you would have noticed that people have started to arrive. And even when you were getting hauled out, you already saw that there were people that were beginning to line up and arrive. And this sort of like kind of quasi red carpet kind of entrance area. It's not the same direction you came from. So you were like more like kind of in the employee parking area, so to speak. But you can see that there were people that are already starting to come in, to the point where some folks saw you and they saw the hubbub, and they didn't really kind of get too worried about it. Yeah, I'll say you have everything, Everett.
Cool. Everett's going to take his paper, pad, and pen, walk out of the office, and try and blend in and act like he belongs, and see if he could find another door to let people in.
Okay, Koji, Faye, Harley, Lawton, what are you guys doing?
Since Faye's not driving, if he sent us like the videos and stuff, Faye would immediately just start watching and going through the evidence.
Okay. So if you all start going through it, what you basically see, this is not necessarily, you're not seeing how it's all pieced together. So imagine using our parlance, right? Or at least parlance from like 10, 15 years ago, the idea of crafting a PowerPoint, right? Before everything was sort of cloud-based, and how whenever you used various images or other media, you had like subfiles and subfolders. You're getting all of the raw folder, right? The raw data. You're not seeing necessarily how it's pieced together. But what you can effectively kind of glean over the course of, we'll say 15, 30 minutes or so, of whoever can possibly go through this as you're, again, flying around, or maybe you parked on a different spinner much lower. If you try to park in any of these places up here without reason, you will get chased out. But if you go lower, you certainly could. What you effectively find is just all sorts of evidence of the incident that happened east of the Kipple Waste at the commune. You can see, and I would say, Lawton, you have seen this in your mind and your memories, the torching. And it's from the same perspective that you see it when you experience the memory of that moment. You see the crystalline images of Lena Kova's face. You see the of Monty Croyle, Hoyt Zemke, Ronald Zephyr. I would say all of you are probably intelligent enough with this information to piece together that this apparently was some kind of exhibit that was supposed to demonstrate Lena Kova's guilt in association with this incident. Like, it was all built around this kind of narrative display. A lot of the evidence that many of you connected. Now, Lawton, you've seen this in your head. Some of you heard this. So I think Everett and Arlie were there. I think Faye stepped away before Huala actually explained this because you got pissed off about work. But Everett and Arlie, you've heard the story. Lawton, you have seen it in your mind.
Making sure we're on mute. Arlie, this is my memory. This is mine.
You remember that you have seen the video of this before?
No, this is my memory. I've never seen this video. I've seen this.
This is... What conclusion do you draw from this, Mr. Stone?
If I was there, or they wanted me to, the memories you have from before, they were implanted in you, right?
But I recall those memories. I am aware of those memories. This is not anything that you recalled before you had the sensory experience when we were in the kipple. Is that correct?
If I was not there, then they put this memory in me. Maybe I was there. Arlie, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I believe it is more likely that you were there. Which makes allowing this to be exposed all the more important. Would that not be correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was being dismissive earlier. I do have concerns for what will be the fallout of this, and perhaps swiftly leaving the area might be wise. But for now, I think we continue.
No, you're right. We need to see this through. Can you take the wheel for a minute?
And Arlie will just sort of smirk a little bit at the last time she drove Mr. Stone somewhere. And we'll take the wheel.
I want to, all this information that was uploaded to me, I'm not going to tell anyone, but I want to re-upload it to another server somewhere outside the LA headquarters database.
So the minute you think that, you suddenly, Lawton, realize the exact place to send this. And it's as if a light just sort of opened up in your memory that of another location. You see it in your mind. You live in a kind of gothic, rundown building. There's not a whole lot of other people in the building, tons of empty space. And you have this sudden emergence of a memory of a storage facility, or storage, taking one of these apartments and turn it into a storage facility, server room. You know exactly where to send it. You know exactly how to send it there. You remember building the infrastructure for it. All these memories start flooding back to you of all of this different info that you essentially redirected there. This is not the first time you've done this, but it might be the first time that you've consciously done this. Or at least this part of you.
I don't know if that makes me feel better or not, but okay.
I wasn't intending.
Yeah, I sent it there.
Feel better. Okay. Okay, easy peasy. I'm going to check in with Koji and Faye, who's in the other spinner. What are you two doing?
I'd like to see how deep my connections run and see if I can get a last minute +1 invite to the gallery.
Love it. Roll connections. do you want to commit any chen yen or so? If you commit some chen yen or some,
Let's see if I have any.
or some, I don't think that would be promotion points. Maybe, yeah, I think chen yen probably makes.
Yeah,
more
I've got one.
sense. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can take advantage on the roll.
Okay.
Real quick, just so that Everett's character can be clued in, he's going to message the group and be like, can someone give me the book cover notes of everything I just downloaded, what I find?
11 and
No.
8, so 3 success.
I will
Okay,
do that.
Koji, you had a tattoo artist. Do you remember their name?
Yeah, it was Jade.
Jade is a renowned artist in her own right. And while her canvas is the human body, they do run in similar circles. And you're able to reach out to her, convey some chinion, some cash, some influence, a favor. That would definitely be a route to take. Alternatively, you could reach out to our old friend Lipton over at the Kill Magazine and see if
Lipton.
good old James Lipton, and see if he could get you in, being a high level media man. That's another option.
Yeah, I think I'll leverage with Lipton here. He might
Okay.
want some good, juicy details.
You don't even
Okay.
have to spend a chin yen at this point. Meet him in the alley.
So you actually have to you have to effectively fly all the way over there. Now you're in a spinner, so it's not long to get there. Like it's a quick movement. So like, but you leave the scene. It's probably going to be about a half an hour. You're there and back. But once more, we see the classic Koji, you son of a bitch, you beautiful man.
I always find myself coming back to you.
Yes, because you love me. Say it. Say you love me. Do
I love your resources.
Oh, you know what? I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. But I'm going to tell you, what do you owe me for this? Last minute? Oh, you know how difficult it was to get entry this thing? We're talking the richest of the rich. Everyone thought maybe Kiani's family might be suddenly coming back earthbound. But that doesn't seem to be the case. No one's seen any of her family for decades anyway. It was always weird that she was here to begin with. Weird old lady, but hey, that's fine. But here you want a +1? I can get you a +1. For you,
Yeah, give me
Koji.
in there.
Okay.
And I'll give you some juicy info.
Juicy info. What do you got for me?
Something's cooking. Something runs up high.
Really?
Talking UN.
You kid, we talking corruption? What are we talking about? Blackmail, bribery, sex scandal, all of the above?
Could as well be.
You know why we go back a long way. You built a lot of bridges with me. So I'm going to take your word on it. I want exclusivity on this. You got me?
I got you.
Okay. I can get you in, no problem. I was going to send one of the Cub reporters just to do some sort of society and arts piece, but that person doesn't know how to spell a damn word, let alone the name, so probably better use than yours. Here you go. And if you could take a few pics, though, that would be good, so we could at least have some stock photography, if that's all right.
Oh, yeah. I've already got an early start.
All right, Koji. Enjoy yourself. You know, you and me, we should get a drink sometime. What do you think?
Make it back.
Two fine, attractive young men, and he is not, by the way. He's very much not. Out on the town, seeing what kind of trouble we can get into.
I'll take you up on a drink. It's been a while since I've gotten a long break.
Oh, that'll be one of the ones you owe me. You still owe me more, but it'll be good. We'll start there. Yes, sir. All right. So sure, and so you start working your way back. I'm so glad you let me do his voice one more time. It's gonna hurt for like the next few hours. Koji, you son of a bitch! I love saying that. So many Andys in the alley. All right. Okay. So Who's got something else?
So-
Arlie?
So Arlie will kind of open comms back up again and just say, okay, so it appears that there is a presentation in the works to expose information, and getting that information out in the public would seem like a good idea. However, there is a great loss of life that seems to be likely timed with that.
Yeah, we need to know where are the bombs, and if we have a chance to defuse them before it gets to that. We know that she's doing her display 90 minutes in is when she's doing her new installation, her new exhibit. And if I had to guess, she's gonna light it up when this video lights up, and they can feel how these poor people felt when they burnt alive.
We have as yet been unsuccessful at a calmer approach to trying to prevent this from happening. Do we want to attempt a different approach at ensuring this event does not go off as planned?
What do you mean by not calmer, Arlie?
For anyone who can't see the video, Mr. Lott and Mr. Stone is holding up a
Yeah.
lighter.
And for those of you not in our Discord group for this game, there are 1,000 messages being shot out between the squares and trying to figure out what to do. It's hilarious. All right. So I'm gonna turn it to you all. What do you guys got? What do you got? You got something, Steven?
Yeah. Now that I know about this server room, I'm putting pieces together. I'm obviously covering tracks for these terrorists. I'm collecting evidence for them. I want to search through the server to see what else I've uploaded there. If there's any threads that could help me deduce who's convincing me or controlling me, that kind of thing. Maybe there's other people who have logged into the servers.
Based. It's not really cloud based in that sense where you can like access
that's
it
fair.
anywhere. Which is like why
just like sending an
you have to
email.
be on. Yeah, so it's like you have to be on premises for it. But I would say just from your memory alone that's being brought back to you, if you're really thinking hard about it, man, you're starting to get memories about, Ty Walters, Joe Hualawa, Warwick Foxwell suddenly, Portia Kiani. You remember, for some reason, doing a whole mess load of deep research into Faye, her childhood, by trying to figure you're like, and how it ties into Warwick Foxwell at all. It's sort of weird, just kind of bringing back to you. You remember information about Chemplast warehouse, security personnel rotations, all sorts of stuff. It's just sort of flooding into your mind. So it's not like you're accessing the files. It's just like memories that were long, kept out of your sort of
repressed
your memory. Yeah, I was thinking partitioned is probably the word I was looking for. That partition is down, and that information is starting to weave back into you now.
Arlie, I've been helping them. I am one of them. I know I've been feeding them information about Faye, about Koji, as much as I could get about you. I'm behind this.
Mr. Stone, I know that you greatly enjoy sharing your level of expertise with the group.
Arlie, you don't get it. I'm not on your side.
No, I think I just froze.
Genuinely believe that you have masterminded all of this?
I'm not saying this isn't an ego thing. I'm not saying that I'm the mastermind. I'm saying that I'm compromised. They have been using me. Maybe it was my own choice. I don't know. I know a lot more than I should, but I forgot it and it's coming back to me. And I'm a mole.
Okay. If you are a mole, as you say you are, if you have been helping these individuals, as you say you have, do you have any inkling as to what you are supposed to do this evening?
Would I?
You don't seem to have any specific things that you're like. You don't have a task.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know their plan. Yeah. No, I was their source. I don't know the plan. I don't know. They kept me insulated. I don't know if they even kept me insulated. Maybe I insulated myself.
Or maybe they let you think that you were insulating yourself and you were being puppeteered the whole time.
I'm a puppet.
Or a mastermind. That is yet to be determined. Arlie's thinking about doing a thing that sort of goes against the spirit of playing a game together, but she almost kind of just wants to recommend that we just remove ourselves from the rest of this night, given kind of the information that he's just shared, that allowing him in play seems a bit risky, and with everything that happened, that maybe we should take ourselves kind of off of this for the rest of the night.
Everett will chime in and say, won't there be people there that die who have nothing to do with this and are just out to be hoity-toity and high class?
Indeed.
Look,
I want to point out, I want to remind you guys, you found no evidence of explosives. You found evidence that the explosives were in fact removed.
I just assumed that they were put in a different spot because they may have someone figured out where they were. But that is true. We did not find any.
Are there any other large events going on?
None that
Tonight?
are, oh yeah, but none that Lena Kova is attending.
True. Okay.
So then perhaps all that is happening tonight is just the expose.
Hmm.
We can't remove ourselves from this. We can't just wait and let it blow over. You don't have time, Arlie. As soon as you go back, you're taking a baseline.
That is a problem for another hour.
All right. I am going to press you guys at this point because time has now progressed. Everett, you've been mingling, moving about. No one has paid you any attention. Like, you are fine to move about. You've been like, there's like, the place is much fuller than it was before. Drinks are being circulated about from some of the first level, like, but then there's also VIPs that are heading up. You also notice Elena Kova is in attendance. She has an entourage with her, various people that are dressed in very kind of professional, dignified, looking formal attire. Pretty much everyone here is dressed very nicely, but there is like the artistic bohemian crowd as well, which you more fit in with. So no one's really giving you too much of a sort of a second glance. But definitely this event has been going on. The time it's taken Koji and Faye to travel across the city and then come back with tickets, and the time it's taken Arlie and Lawton to dig through some of the files that Everett was able to sort of take from the offices of Portia Kiani, this has taken time. So whatever you're going to do, now's the time to do it. Koji and Faye, we can say you're back and you have your tickets. If you want to go in, that's fine. But the rest of you, it's time.
Yeah, once I get access, I'm just going to head in.
Okay. Faye, are you going with him? +1?
Yeah, I'm the +1.
Okay. You start going in, and fortunately, it doesn't look as though Agent Gibbs is at the door. And it doesn't look as though they thought to circulate, you as like a do not enter list. But when you kind of show digitally, like the tickets that you've been given, you get in just fine. And you can see that the main gallery is filled. There's probably 100 to 200 people, you think, spread around between the main gallery and probably mingling throughout the exhibits. You hear music is kind of pumping here and there as well. A lot of it. You can see that there are, I would say, the two of you being, and I'll loop in Everett with this as well. The three of you being, being professionals within the LAPD. You see recognizable figures from government. You see recognizable figures from media. So you see like GBS people, kill people. You see folks from the UN. You can see other local politicians. You can see that there are celebrities here, people who would normally just be entertainers and things like that, all throughout. And there's just rich people that you presume are filled with cash. And you can see that all of the exhibits are on full display. You can see everything's kind of going and clicking perfectly. And I'll allow the three of you to go ahead and make an observation test. I'm going to say you're at different parts of the gallery, maybe Koji and Faye are together, but go ahead. The three of you can kind of roll something here.
Well, can I get a dice?
I got 3 success.
Sure thing.
Also, I don't know, I should have asked earlier, while I was walking around and everyone else was doing their things, I never saw Joe or any of these other replicants that we've learned by name and seen.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. I would presume you would be looking looking for them. Yeah. Koji and Faye, how did you do?
No successes, but I'll push.
I got 1 success.
It gets me 1 as well.
Okay. So I will say that Koji, you very easily see.
Oh, sorry.
That,
I'm disadvantaged, so it's actually no success.
Okay. So then I'll say that Faye. Well, no. Let me start with Everett. Everett, you see Agent Gibbs. He is next to. He's at Lena Kova's side, shadowing her. Other people are with her. You can tell that she's got at least 2 personal body people with her, and then she's got her own little entourage as well. You see that she's doing the rounds. She's talking with everybody. She's glad handing. She's shaking hands, etc. You know that she's got political aspirations, that she's looking to climb that ladder, right? And so she's going around doing that. You also see in a beautiful green gown with extraordinarily red and orange hair, kind of done up in this sort of almost beehive like hairstyle, Portia Kiani. And you can see that she's moving around as well. And there's a man on her arm. Faye, you want to describe what this man looks like? As it is Warwick Foxwell that you see.
So Warwick is a tall, broad-shouldered guy, but he's lean. He's got like salt and pepper hair and a thick beard.
Okay. So you see the two of them moving around, shaking hands, etc. Now, Everett, with your extra successes, what you also see, and what is very interesting, is that the gallery staff, the catering staff, and even some of the just people who are in groups, like there's definitely recognizable people here, but then there's a lot of just kind of plain-faced folk, and you notice many of them are carrying, and you get the vibe that there is like undercover kind of plainclothes agents here. Like Lena Kova is very clearly and obviously being escorted around by people that are like Secret Service, right? But then there are all these other people, and you can see them while they're doing the the layman work of like handing out drinks and hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. Like you as with your your LAPD eyes can notice that they are also scanning the room, looking as well.
Everett will share this information with Koji and Faye and just mutter like, there can't be any mistakes. There are eyes everywhere watching everything. I don't know how a trigger man could do anything without being seen pretty quickly.
Keep a looking as well, but I don't see anything.
Is Warwick and Portia like making rounds around?
Yeah, they're going and
The venue?
meeting with the groups. You can see people are congratulating Portia, and he's just being the dutiful paramour, the dutiful escort. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we know about Faye's friend being a part of the wake up group?
Up to Faye. Lawton, you are aware of Warwick Foxwell. Faye, whether you've told Everett, Arlie, or Koji, it's entirely up to you.
God, I don't. I think those who were there who heard her interrogating Bao Lao about, was it Bao Lao? Interrogating him about Warwick and being involved in this. I think only those would know. So Arlie and Everett would know.
Poor Koji on the outs on this one.
Odd man out. I was thinking the same thing.
Ashley
So then-
like,
He's always by himself in this game.
I know, right?
I'm right in front of you
The
guys.
most productive.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Everett would mutter to Faye then and say, do you think if we try to appeal to your friend and talk about the evidence that we have, he might be able to give us some kind of information on if the bombs are moved or if they're still here or something? What do you think, Faye?
I don't know. And at this, like, Faye's kind of slowly been drifting away from Koji and like trying to intercept Everett. Or Warwick, excuse me.
Okay. So if you try to slip over and intercept, okay. At a certain point amongst like as they're drifting from one group that is observing like one of the exhibits, like kind of like that as they're like disappearing down the hallway towards one of the other wings, and now they're drifting over to this other group that's by this high table. They're drinking glasses out of like these illuminated martini glasses with fancy little colors kind of spraying up from it, like sprinkling upwards. And you can see they pull off from that table. You step in front, and you can see Warwick gets a big smile on his face. He's just like, Faye, you made it. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Portia, darling, this is Faye. Faye is my oldest friend, and I didn't even know you were coming. This is so great. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And like he just
Yeah.
reaches over and just hugs you.
Where have you been?
Oh, and this is like Portia speaks up. I am so sorry for this, but work has been helping me with the gallery. My people have been struggling lately, and I just needed more folks that I can trust. I have a new exhibit that I am premiering tonight, and I just wanted to keep it very close to the people that, I trust the most in this world. And who would I trust more than this guy right here, right? Oh my goodness. But it's so great to meet you. I've heard so many things about you. We really need to spend a little time, and I would love to get you know more. Right now, though, I have to do the thing. You know, I have to circle around, talk, etc. But it's so great. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm sure your new exhibit's going to be explosive. I'm sure.
Oh, I am very much looking forward to the looks on people's faces. Absolutely. I am so ready for it. Yes.
Okay. Do you mind if I had a private word with Warwick and then I'll return him
Oh,
to
I
you?
really need him. I know people say because of my family and because of my social status and stuff like that, I should be good at this sort of thing. But honestly, talking to people, especially those that are this crowd, just the anxiety, it's here on a good day. And then on nights like tonight, it is just up here. And Warwick helps me just get through it. So he's just amazing at this. So if I'm sorry to steal him from you. I know I've stolen him for a couple weeks. I'm sorry, but don't worry. Once tonight is over, you can have him back. I swear.
Quick question: while Faye is talking with them, would Everett be able to like do an ocular pat down, as they call it, to see if they have like any lumps in their clothing that might be detonator shaped, or if it's been fashioned into a bracelet or something, based on what we've seen in
Ocular
evidence?
pat down?
I don't remember where I got that from.
Means.
Just like look at
It's from Always Sunny.
Okay.
It's from what?
Mac is the security, and he does ocular pat downs.
I would say you had 3 successes. I will tell you that it does look as though Warwick is possibly packing something in his jacket. Yeah. She doesn't look so. She's wearing a very tight, very glittery green, beautiful dress. You're not sure. It's possible she could have like a leg strap or something, but
Okay. Everett will mumble that to Faye. Look at his jacket pocket, or look at his, whatever area of his jacket.
so they start to pull away, and Work's like, don't worry, we'll have time later. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to scare you. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Things are going to be great. Okay? All right. Kisses. And he kind of leans in to sort of do the classic, like, kiss on each cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Pickpocket him, pickpocket him, pickpocket him.
You can certainly try to do it. It's going to be a roll.
Maxwell's
It's not
just
guaranteed.
saying this in the background.
he's like, I'm sorry. Did you hear that?
I don't know if Faye would like pickpocket him, but maybe she'd like pat him on his chest, like, okay, I'll let you go, to like see if it feels
Sure.
like if it's a gun.
Okay. Do you care whether he picks up on this or not? Do you want to do this sort of in a not? Okay. Yeah, it certainly feels like he's got a weapon underneath his coat. Yeah.
Okay.
And as he pulls away and you do it, he just kind of gives you a wink and a grin, and then the two of them waltz away.
And she'll, come back to the group and be like, it's a gun.
Well,
Maybe we
with
did
everybody-
overreact. He seemed fine.
yeah, it's possible. I just, without knowing where the devices were put, despite seeing 3 distinct places that had something on them, it's just unsettling. But we've checked the vents. There's no crawl space. I just don't know where else these things could be if they were kept on premise.
I'd like to just buy time until the event happens.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Like you can blend in. No problem. No issues whatsoever, Koji. No one gives you a second glance or anything like that.
I'm gonna keep monitoring Lena Kova and see like where
Yeah.
she's at.
She's being
in relation to,
extraordinarily
like, Warwick and
social.
them.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, they at a certain point they cross paths and they do greet one another, shake hands, all that kind of stuff. Do little, cheek kisses, all that types of things, and then they can move on as if it's just any other meeting. Lawton and Arlie, what are you two doing? You guys are in the spinner somewhere. What are you guys up to?
We're arguing, bickering like normal, trying to figure out what we're gonna do next. I want to get in there.
I cannot join you.
You can't stay out here. You are gonna be baselined.
I can't go in there. I punched him in the face and nobody had my back about that. So I don't think I'm going to get back in. You can go in. I'm not saying you can't.
I didn't have your back.
You weren't inside. You don't count in that shade.
I'm gonna give Koji a call.
Okay, you guys communicate each other. Hello.
Koji, can you pop open a back door for us? We're coming in.
I gotcha. This one's not much foot traffic.
I'm gonna park the spinner close by and not taking the keys so Arlie can't keep flying.
Koji, there are other ways in. Like there's the main entrance, but there's also like an employee entrance, sort of workers entrance. Catering is being funneling in through there, so it's like there's other ways to get in. I'll say though that if you would please, you either roll something to at least make it look like you're either supposed to be there or you're hiding. Like so, either a stealth or like a manipulation, maybe. Like if you want to talk your way back there and make it seem, whatever it is, however you want to handle it.
I'd prefer manipulation.
Yeah, go ahead. 1 success is all you would need. You're just sort of influencing some of the staff, some of the real staff.
12, 2 success.
Okay. A couple times, person might kind of look at you askance but really they're just so busy. They're just going back. They're constantly reloading hors d'oeuvres and things like that. A few of them even, sometimes they just go out there and you can see a few of them are smoking, like kind of out on like this sort of back little patio, like balcony area. And you're able to open it up. There's this large platform, you can see that it extends. There's all these beautiful spinners, these flying cars that are just parked there, not unlike those that you saw at the very beginning of this campaign when you in the sort of the holding garages across the street from Chemplast back in the warehouse district. You see this kind of stuff. Lawton and Arlie, I'm going to need a stealth test from you guys, though, because they are specifically looking for Arlie. So if you guys want to get back here, you can park the spinner fine.
Yeah.
But it's like getting back here, though. Yeah.
Before Arlie actually commits, I don't really want to tell her character that she has to do it, but Lawton would park the spinner, take the keys, and say, Arlie, I can't believe that I'm the one right now that has to tell you this, but you got to get your mind right. The rules matter. The rules don't matter. You're not willing to go in there because they won't let you in. You hit the guy for obstructing you. We got to go in there and solve this case. You're not going to do shit out here.
Yes, Mr. Stone, this is correct information.
Cut the
I threw
crap.
this in
Quit
chat as a
calling me
joke.
Mr. Stone. God damn it. It's Lawton.
Sure. And she is going to, I threw this in chat as a joke, but I think it's funny. So she's gonna do like the jacket reverse. So like she's got the white jacket on. And so she's gonna like take it off and flip it inside out. And it's like black on the inside.
Okay. Stealth test, please.
Okay.
I'm going to take an audience boost if we have one.
We do.
Better use them because they ain't rolling over in the black sword hack and they ain't rolling over in the Delta Green.
I rolled a lolly,
Take one.
and I'm going to push it too.
Yeah, some of us are using our fancy
Ooh.
lolly dice.
I got an 8 and a 9.
I got an 8 and a 10.
Oh, way to show me up, Arlie. You were always the better replicant, weren't you?
The two of you get back there. You meet up with Koji, and you're able to get in. Now you have to be careful because definitely some of them might recognize Arlie, but you do manage to get in. It's a very busy crowd. And I'm gonna say by the time you get in there, you can hear that there are like these gongs are starting to sound here and there. People are kind of getting funneled back at a certain point to the main gallery as they're getting ready to display this sort of new this new exhibit in some way. Is anyone doing anything before then? Last call. Don't overthink this. No is a perfectly fine answer. I don't want to rob you of it. This is a safe.
I'll grab an hors
point, so to
d'oeuvre on the
speak.
way through the kitchen on the way in.
No, I'm sorry. They don't serve you. They don't serve your kind.
Scientists.
Exactly.
Nerd.
Oh my God. All right. So that's the case. All of you eventually kind of are all of you moving into the main gallery at that point? Okay. So you start kind of getting into the main gallery. You can see the whole place goes dark. So there's this whole second level, this VIP level, and you can see that's crowded. You can see the main floor is crowded. You can see there's people on high tops. There's, the high top tables, people flanking the outsides and stuff like that. But you can see a lot of the sort of some of the other VIPs, the very noticeable people are like right there front and center. You can see Kiani, Portia Kiani, she steps forward into relative center of the room, and music starts to get a little louder. And all of a sudden you hear this like machinery, this grinding happening. And she just starts getting raised up on a platform, maybe about 5 feet tall. So she is like just looking out over. She begins just sort of talking to everybody, kind of going through like her artistic motivations, how she founded Fiamma, how LA itself has just become such a home for her, how, her family's not here and, probably will never will be, but LA welcomed her back with open arms and she doesn't feel alone anymore. All these different sorts of explanations. And then she kind of turns at this point. You can see a dark look kind of come over her face. The light kind of shifts at this point. And you can see how like these flames, these sort of abstract flames start flickering up. And everyone's clothes are starting to see that, much the way like these sort of holographic projections are. You can see the walls as well. And she starts suddenly just like a shift, just like a switch has been turned. And she starts going into how family is so important, community is so important, trust is so important. And when that trust is broken, when it's broken by those you love, when it's broken by the institutions that you trust, when it's broken by the people that you elect and put in power, community falls apart. And then you start to hear underneath the music the sounds of like voices starting to pop up. Not people in the crowd, though there is some of that mumbling that's been going on here and there. But Lawton, you recognize the conversations. You hear the sounds of Monty Croyle talking. You hear the voice of Hoyt Zemke talking. You hear the voice of Lena Kova as they're like going through. And what it sounds like to you all, it's Kia to Kia communication that has somehow been found. Somehow it was logged, recorded, and released somehow. And all you hear is like communication between multiple spinners. If you recall, when Hualao told the story in Lawton, you would know this just from personal experience. Like a fleet of them arrived because there were dozens and dozens of these LAPD people arrive. And you're just hearing this constant chatter going back and forth and back and forth. And you can hear the reports of, don't let their sweet faces fool you. This is a dangerous place, and kind of spouting out where to look and what to find and that kind of stuff. Anybody who is looking around can roll an observation test at this point.
Two success.
I got a unicorn, but I'm still going to push.
Same.
I got one myself.
Got
One.
another unicorn.
All right. So Faye, if you had 2 unicorns, is that right?
Yeah, I got a unicorn. I pushed. I got another unicorn.
Okay. Okay. So I think it's just the unicorn you got. You didn't get two. It's the same one that rolled over. So both of you took unicorns. It's observation. So you're both taking what's it called? Is it resolve? What's it called?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it took
resolve.
mine
Resolve.
off automatically.
Okay, perfect. Koji, you did you pass?
Yeah, I got one.
Our Lady, did you pass?
Got one.
Everett, looks like you got two. Okay. So, Arlie and Koji, one of the things you notice is that the man who was kind of escorting her around the room is no longer near her, but is instead very carefully and very, stealthily, and is moved over into the direction of where Kova is. Doesn't, not getting too close. He's still kind of smiling and laughing, kind of looking up with like this just wonderful look. Then Everett, with your two successes, you notice like Lena Kova is starting to get uncomfortable, and she starts kind of communicating to her entourage, and a few of them, they look confused, and you can see even Agent Gibbs looks confused. They didn't really expect this. And then you can hear Portia County keeps going, and she keeps going, setting this up, giving this whole kind of song and dance about the nature of trust and betrayal, institutions falling apart, LAPD being her home. And if this is going to be your home, she wants it to be run by those that you can trust. She wants it to be enforced by those that do the right thing, that are ethical and moral. And then at that, she quiets, and you can see she starts to drift down. And then all of those images, all of those videos, all of those sound files start playing out. And it creates this hyper real reenactment or memory stitching. Because this is an industry. The idea of memories being sold or fabricated, real memories being sold, that's illegal. But so you're seeing this sort of just play out in front. And everyone's kind of getting sort of very confused look. The audience looks confused. You overhear some people, is this some sort of satire? What exactly is going on? And then the moment comes where the torches come out. And you can see there's just this pit of dozens and dozens of folks. You can see Monty Croyle, Hoyt Zemke, so many of these other LAPD just blowtorching them, screams and pain. And after a few moments of the screaming, the lights go out completely. It's black, and you can see this very light orange spotlight kind of comes over Kova. Anyone doing anything at any point?
It was
No is a perfectly acceptable answer. I just want you all to have the option.
Yep.
well, it was what's his face that was moving towards Kova, right? Faye's friend. Okay, no, I was just checking.
Correct.
Where's the UN guy? I want to go punch him.
Agent Gibb. The only
No,
light
I'm
you
not
guys
doing
now
anything.
see is like that light, that yellow orangey light spotlight over top of Kova, which is sort of splashing over onto some of her entourage, but it's mostly on her, and she looks pissed. And so at this point, she just says, I think we've had enough with these games. Go ahead and put the lights back on, please. And you hear like mumbling start to go in the crowd, and the lights, just the normal lights, start popping up here and there. When you look over, you can see Portia County looks a little confused. Like, why this happened? Why did this happen? And then Faye, you watch as reaching into his jacket is Warwick. He pulls something out that you thought was a gun, but is not in fact a gun, but is instead a detonator. And you hear him just shout to the crowd, "Wake up!" And he pulls the button down, and nothing happens. And he looks, and he starts hitting it, and he starts hitting it, and he looks panicked. And you see Agent Gibbs start kind of moving over in the direction. It's over, kid. We found them. Anyone doing anything?
No.
Okay. So this Agent Gibbs guy starts moving over, and he looks like he's about to reach out and grab Warwick. You already see that several of these officials, several of Lena Kova's people have started to swarm around Portia Kiani, and so like they've got her. And out of nowhere, like as Warwick, he just turns up, sees Agent Gibb, and much like Arlie did, just swings out with a violence that you've maybe never seen from him, Faye, and just destroys Gibbs' face, and his head just goes flying back with this unhuman strength, and he bolts. He's pushing through the crowd at this point, and he's running for the door.
Fuck. Faye's gonna chase after him.
Okay, so what is everybody else doing before I get into some stuff?
Lawton looks at Arlie. What are you doing?
Arlie wants to see what Portia's doing.
She's
she seems
surrounded
like-
by
is she
Lena
still-
Kova's people. Like she's got Lena Kova's people have surrounded her. Like all these agents, they've got her. Like she is in custody effectively. They are cuffing her, is what they're doing.
I'll be a backup to as much order as possible. So if things are getting out of hand, so if the only thing
Okay.
is Chadwick or
Yeah.
whatever his name is, I forget. If he's like the running,
Chaz.
then Chaz.
It's Warwick that is running. It's Faye's friend that's running. Chaz was the one of the gallery managers.
Okay.
But you can see he's pushing people down, knocking people over as he's running for the door. Absolutely, he's doing that. But everyone else is just massively confused about what the hell is happening. Like the main crowd. But you can see that because there were all those different people that weren't just in Kova's, Kova's actual entourage, but others that were kind of embedded. Some of them at this point are now starting to race after Warwick. And they're chasing after him. You see a few people have started to draw their weapons. No one's firing because there's a crowd and there's so many people, but they're kind of pulling out and they're clearly chasing after him.
I'll
If
join
Faye
in chase
chased
them.
after, Arlie will also chase.
Okay, so Arlie, Faye, and Koji are chasing. Everett and Lawton.
I have no idea.
Would I know James Lipton as well?
You would know
Know of
maybe
him?
of him, but I don't think you would have a personal connection.
He's in the media, right? That's what we said.
Yes, he's a high up editor and manager of Kill Magazine.
I'm going to get demoted. I'm going to send him all of our Memories of Fire files, along with anyone else in the press that I can think of. And I'm going to just get my Kia set to have that upload bar as quickly as possible.
Okay. All right. So no one's interfering with you. Like no one's coming to you. No
Right.
one's giving you anything. And so you're just kind of off and you're doing whatever you can to sort of packet these files off.
I want to
Okay.
move closer to Portia and hear what Lena is saying to her.
Okay. Everett, you step up. I want to resolve these because we're actually going to hit a chase rules sequence with Faye, Koji, and Arlie at this point. So you step over and you just hear kind of this smug Lena Kova just kind of lean over, and she just says to Portia, she's like, "You don't think a person like me who has gotten everything I've gotten in life, has risen to the ranks that I have gotten to, not because of some family connection or family money, couldn't have figured out your little conspiracy? You thought you were laying a trap for me? Poor girl. We were the ones laying it for you. You're going to rot. If you're not going to rot, then we're just going to torch you like we did all of your little friends."
Would my Kia be able to record that, or is it too much noise and commotion?
If you're gonna try to record it, you're gonna need to do a stealth, and it will be contested because there are several of the entourage around, and it's very quiet, and so you're kind of hearing the whispers at this point.
If I held my LAPD badge, do you think that they have? I know she's got her own entourage, but do you think that would help give me advantage on the stealth roll?
If you held that up, I don't think that. I would say you're vastly outnumbered here,
Okay.
and you'd probably like she is so well connected that it's possible like this could go really bad for you.
Okay, yeah, I'll just try to stealth. If do we have any bonuses left, Melissa?
Yes, we do.
All right, I'll take one to bump it. One success.
Okay. So yeah, you're doing your best. You get as close as you feel comfortable. Like, and you see a few times, like one or two of like the entourage, not Gibbs, kind of looks over to you and kind of pushes you away at this point as they're now trying to kind of make a bubble. And you think they're going to start escorting her out in a moment. And so you're kind of getting pushed back. So you get little bits and pieces of it, probably not the full speech, but maybe parts of it, enough that could be very incriminating. Okay.
Okay, yeah, with what I have, I'll back off.
All right. So at this point, yeah, go ahead, Lawton.
Would I be able to do something after uploading, or would that take too long? Could I just get it sending and set down the Kia?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to head over to Linakova as well. Probably not the same direction as MaxWell.
Okay. So you want to kind of get into that entourage?
Yeah, and I'll flash my badge if I have to, just to like show them that I'm LAPD.
You show that, and like they're like, nope, everything's fine, everything's handled. We've got it taken care of. We'll loop your department in later. Okay? Everything's fine, sir. Thank you for your concern. They're just like, they're not even letting you get close to Kova. Like there's like a bubble around, like literally protect the president kind of bubble around her at this point. Her and Kiani.
You don't have the authority to arrest someone without local jurisdiction. Kiani's not going anywhere.
They look at you. You can take that up with your supervisor and your supervisor's supervisor, and we'll handle that later. Now off with you. It's above your pay grade.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to follow, but I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, Faye, Koji, Arlie, you're chasing after Warwick, who is also being chased after by all these other kind of plainclothes, like planted security guys, and he's trying to get out. So we're going to do a quick chase really fast. So essentially, he is the pursuer, because we never done a chase. So I just want to do this really fast. So he effectively is the pursuer. You all are the chasers. And so it's really about, there's like no initiative, but essentially every round of a chase, you can take a particular action, a particular maneuver. So here, I'll share you with you all. So that document, if you look at the chase, you can kind of see how it works. So so maneuvers are hidden. So, and then they're sort of revealed at the same time. And so this is just to see if you can get to him before others get to him, or see if you can get to him before he gets away. That's kind of where we're at right now. Okay. So the maneuvers that you can take, so there's pursue or flee. That's really just moving, like running like crazy, and takes a mobility test to do so, or a drive if you're in a vehicle. Hide. This is for the person who's being pursued, so the prey. So it would be Warwick who can try to hide. Block would be to try to create obstacles for whoever's pursuing you. And again, that's only performed by the prey. Or you can try to cut off. And that's performed by someone who is chasing them. So trying to make it so that the person can't get out. Okay. There's also stand and shoot if you just want to start firing as well. But those are effectively the maneuvers. Okay. So I'm going to say that he starts at within medium range of you all. So he is probably, I would say, not all the way up to 25 meters. He's not in the same zone as you, but he is an adjacent zone from you. So you guys are, so he's medium basically. And so there's a gauge, short, medium, long, extreme. And if a round ever ends where he has kind of gotten to, beyond extreme, then he gets away, is essentially where we're at. Okay. So more than likely you guys are probably pursuing, and more than likely he's fleeing at this point. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So, but you can take whatever you want, because we're going to sort of resolve this together. So we'll say just for the first round, so we see how this goes. So he's going to try to flee. And so we reveal this at the same time. So we say, is anyone doing anything other than flee? Other than pursue?
Can I do cutoff? Is that possible?
Yes, you absolutely can. So you try to find a shortcut to cut them off. So it's opposed. That would be an opposed roll. And so what about Arlie and Faye? What do you want to do?
Faye is pursuing.
Okay. Arlie?
Yeah, definitely just straight pursuing, running as fast.
Okay.
as
So between the two of you, since you're taking the same action, we have such a big group, so we're tweaking the rules slightly. But the slowest of the two of you, so whoever has essentially the worst, base die in mobility, is going to be who rolls. And that's going to determine the two of you do use speed. All
I have an A and a D.
I have a B and a D.
All right. So he is going to roll. So he's trying to, at the very least, get out of here. So he's going to roll his mobility test first to see if he can see how he does. And so for each success he rolls, he essentially he increases the range category that he's away from you all. I rolled a lolly and I rolled a 7. So he rolled 2 successes. So it's 2 lolly on a D6. That D6 is insane, dude. Like I roll on that a 6 all the time. So he's going to move 2. Faye, actually, Koji, let's do your cutoff. So go ahead and we're making opposed mobility tests. So roll a mobility test versus his mobility.
I have 2d6 for this. Oh, I got 5s on both. I'll push. And I got 1s on both, so I take double damage. Impressive.
Yeah, I swear to God, I rolled another lolly on this D6. It is unreal how often I roll 6 on that. So he's going to win. So we see as Faye and Arlie take a very kind of a beeline chasing after him. Koji, you try to come around from the side and cut him off before he gets to the door, but he pushes right past you. And even though there's some of these agents at the door, he with superhuman strength just sort of like burrows past them and pushes out the door, and he's outside the gallery on like into that the platform area where some of the spinners and everything are. Arlie and Faye, go ahead and roll whoever's rolling it, roll mobility to see if you can kind of keep distance with him.
That's Faye.
Okay.
So this isn't. He's potentially could be at extreme or less.
Yeah. Can I have a die on this or no?
Yes, you can.
Is that allowed, Jeff?
Well, it's not.
Sorry.
We don't do extra die. We're doing.
I meant like increase it. I
don't remember. Were we doing advantages? Or were we
It
doing
increases by 1.
We were just
The die size.
We were doing
the die size.
Yeah,
a
1
step
step
up. Okay, yeah. So you can do a step up.
Okay, so my mobility is a C. Two successes.
Okay, so essentially you keep up with him. So he's still at medium. So you bust out the door. You're still behind him. You can see he's running over in the direction of where all these different spinners have been parked. And you're keeping pace, but he's still at medium distance from you. You can also tell, and so this is the other thing that's going to happen, is that I get to roll some obstacles in the way. I kind of just hand waved it for the first one because there's the door and there was the guards at it. So I hand waved it for the first one, but there's potential obstacles that are going to kind of pop up here and there that might affect certain things. So at this point, Arlie and Faye, you're outside. Koji, you're still inside. You're effectively, I think you're at extreme range at this point. So you're falling behind because of your failed attempt to cut off. So now we go to a new round. And you guys pick what you want to pick, but then we'll all reveal at the same time what your attempt is, what you're going to do. So there's also others. So if there's something else like that doesn't quite fit, just say so. It usually just requires a skill check to sort of
where are the other people at that are chasing him right now?
Some of them are behind you, some of them are ahead of you. Like I'm not going to be too specific with them with granular, but they're here. Like because they well outnumber you. Okay. And there are people outside too, smoking, drinking, laughing, people who just wanted to get air, whatever it might be.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay,
so I'm doing flee. What are you guys doing?
Cut off.
Okay.
I'm gonna break chase if that's possible.
You can break chase, yeah. So if you don't want to chase after, so that's fine. So you slow down.
Pull the hammy. I overexerted myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Block. I want to try to do something to disrupt the other people that I might have gotten ahead of that are chasing after him.
Okay. So block, I'll say normally it's only done by the prey, but if you're trying to specifically block other pursuance from Kova's people, I think that's fine. So you go ahead, roll force for that, Arlie. He's normally the prey goes first, so that's what I'm gonna do here. And we'll see if he's running. And you can see he's running and he's running and he's running. And goodness. Okay, 1 success. Faye, go ahead and roll. So go ahead and roll your cutoff.
What was the roll for that? Sorry.
So for you, it's an opposed mobility, and if the range is long or extreme, which it actually is long, you get disadvantage because he's put some distance between you. So go ahead and you're going to have a disadvantage on the roll.
Isn't mine still medium? Because of
you resolve actions based. So prey goes first, and then pursuer goes last.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So by the end of the round, so when you're coming around, you're going to get disadvantage. You can still do it. It's just a disadvantage.
2 successes.
Okay, so it's going to be opposed. 1 success, another lolly on the D8 this time. But actually, is it 8 2 successes, or is that's forbidden?
I believe
lands,
it's 1.
Right? Okay,
One.
so
Yeah, I think it's
just 1 success. Okay, so since this was success for you, Faye, you managed to cut him off. So if you win the roll, the distance to the prey is immediately reduced to engaged, and you can, if you want, make an immediate hand-to-hand combat roll. If you if you want. Now it doesn't mean you have to punch him. You could just be tackling him, grabbing him, whatever it is. But you can roll that now to try to like keep him from running any further.
Faye has the keys to our spinner. She's just gonna tell him punch me, and then she's gonna drop the keys.
He looks at you. He looks at the keys. He grabs them and then he punches you. He doesn't hold back, but I'm not going to say you take any damage, but it looks good. Like he literally punches you.
Yeah.
But you can tell that if he is a replicant, he's definitely taken a little bit off. You've been punched by a replicant. So
yeah.
But you can feel it. And I'll say
Still missing
Arlie,
a couple teeth.
Yeah. Arlie, what's your force roll result?
I failed. I pushed and I failed.
Okay. So they continue to chase. Now, I'm going to say because Faye, you're up ahead because you're not specifically trying to stop him. He's just going to keep going. So let's go to a new round. Again, I'm not really doing the obstacles because we have like this other floating thing, but that's another, So let's do one more thing. So Arlie and Faye, what would you be doing here? He's going to try to get into the spinner and continue to flee.
I'm going to do the same thing. I want to try to block the people pursuing him so that he can get away.
Okay. Faye.
I'm going to do other, and I'm going to try and distract by like maybe running off in a different direction. Like I'm following him elsewhere.
Okay. Manipulation, probably, I think.
Like,
that sounds like you're trying to convince them that he went a different direction.
More so like they were following me, chasing him, and now I'm running in a different direction. Yeah.
They weren't chasing you. They were chasing him.
Oh,
so,
okay.
like,
Got it.
Yeah, like they were chasing you. But you can do that. I mean, like if you want to try to be like, no, he's that way. Like that's fine. I still think manipulation, though, makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to make a driving test for him. And I do succeed. Arlie, roll that force test to try to block more of them. Very important force test.
I took a boost on this. So it's a D 10 and a D8 that I'm rolling now.
Okay.
So I got a 7 and a 4.
That's a success. So technically a cutoff is going to be opposed to their mobility. Don't worry, they're not replicants, so they're much lower. I rolled a 4 and a 5, so you do in fact win the opposed.
So there's something there's something that I'm able to like a restaurant has like a sign out front that I kind of knock over, and
there's no restaurants up here, but like there's definitely some display. There's like some sort of like display torches, like little holographic torches that you can kind of knock over in their way. Okay. Faux plants to kind of line some of the red carpet, maybe even tug on the red carpet to trip them, something like that. That's no problem. So you do take them out, and you can see that they were pulling guns and getting ready to start firing. So that is a very important win on your part. Faye, what about you?
I got 1 success.
Okay. And so this is going to be versus their insight. They also got 1 success. So I'm going to say 1 or 2 follows you, but other continue. Like they kind of split up. Like you go that way, you go that way. And this is how I'm going to resolve it. So Arlie, you've managed to cut off some of them. Faye, you've managed to cut off some of them. The spinner starts up and starts flying off at this point. And you can see a few of the agents kind of look up and look up. And because he's driving away in an LAPD cruiser, they're not going to fire at it. So they might have if it was more commercial or something like that. So they're just going to assume maybe it's LAPD or whatever. So I'm going to cut. So it looks like he's gotten away. So inside, Everett, Koji, Lawton, you see as that bubble that has been surrounding Lena Kova and Portia begins to move, the crowd starts to part, and they're walking outside. But they're not letting anyone get within a couple feet of the group. Portia has been quiet. She's not crying. She looks dead-faced. Like, just dead-faced. Are you 3 doing anything?
As they're moving through the crowd, hopefully before they get outside, I want to yell out, Kova, don't you remember me? Because I sure as hell remember you.
She kind of turns and looks over at you.
I remember the farm.
I can't say I've ever seen your face in my life. And she keeps walking.
Sure as hell wish I could stop seeing yours.
You're going to, like over her shoulder, you're going to see a lot more. As she continues to walk away. Unperturbed by your taunts.
Everett's going to walk up to Lawton and play the recording that he took to see what it sounds like or how intelligible it is and if it's helpful.
So it's getting noisy now as people are like, what's going on? There's whatever. But Lawton, if you're letting him give you this and listen, you do hear her voice patching in and out. Very cocky, very arrogant. All of this, all of that pops up.
Even the part where I'm going to torture you like we did on the farm?
It's coming in and out, but there's definitely enough to, like you would have to go through like voice analysis and things like that to confirm it's her. But you hear enough that sounds pretty incriminating. Yeah.
Okay. Everett's going to shrug and say, I couldn't get to Portia, but that's all I could get.
Send it out. Send it to everyone.
Okay.
Koji, what were you doing as you see the bubble start to move towards you? And what are
I'll
you
let them go. I'm not too interested if it's under control. Make sure the crowd's okay too.
So you just start quieting the crowd. Now the 3 of you now start, like Everett, Lawton, you guys are doing your best to send stuff to wherever you can send it. It's going to be easier to bring stuff there physically, but you're sending what you can. Koji, you kind of get out of the way. You make sure people aren't panicking, calming them down, showing the badge, everything, everything's under control, et cetera, et cetera. Faye, at a certain point, you kind of get to the edge, you look down, you can see 300 floors to the ground as you've reached the edge, and the two that were following, like, where'd he go? Where is he?
I don't think he jumped. If he did, he's not fucking alive.
All right, go back inside. And so like the 2 of them, like they start talking to each other and they turn around, like get disgusted, like you being useless.
Yeah.
Arlie, you are outside. You're watching as this group of people start moving past you, moving with Lena Kova. You can see they're moving with Portia. They're moving towards this grouping of these beautiful, sleek spinners, government, and they start loading up and loading up and loading up. Arlie, make an observation test.
Okay. That is a 6 and a 9, which I think is, oh, sorry, 2 6s. So 2 successes.
Okay. You notice that a few of them, like there's a very large spinner. You can see Lena Kova. She gets inside with some of her other people sitting in the back. They do the classic, like in the back seats, they're staring at each other. You can see they bring Portia Kiani, who's heavily kind of manacled at this point, cuffs in as well. You see it fire up. Like Kova looks, she kind of gives commands to some of her other people who start going in some of the, going back into the crowd. Some of them are going back into the party. But as you see the spinner start to take off, you notice something a little odd about the driver as they're looking around as they're pulling up, and they turn the spinner in such a way as they start flying away. And for the faintest moment, you see the face of Joe Hualawa in the driver's seat as it just begins to fly and fly away. So,
Right.
At this point, all of you are not in immediate danger. You're not being detained right this moment. So what happens now?
Seems like they had them under control. I think that's all we can do here.
Yeah.
Well, we've got
Chasing-
evidence that's being uploaded to public media sources, so that's going to cause a rise. Would we be able to try and follow the spinner that had Portia in it just to see what ends up happening? Like
If you want to try to, yeah, it's fine. It's
Everett's willing to try that.
I'll tell you this though, like if Arlie conveys who was driving that,
Sure.
it's not going to be an easy task. Like it's going to be like it would effectively be a chase scene.
Lawton would, without saying anything to Everett or Koji, just walk away. And he had already set his Kia down to upload before he talked to Kova, so he's leaving that behind too.
Okay. So do you wait for anybody before you get in your spinner and leave, or?
No, I'm not taking the spinner. I'm just walking.
Okay. There's a sky bridge that goes to other places, but you are 300 levels up, so it's not going to be the...
Yeah, I figured as much. I'll steal another spinner. I don't want to take a LAPD one.
So we just see Lawton just kind of leave the gallery and just start walking past everybody. And maybe a few of you see him, maybe a few of you don't. But as far as you know, he just sort of disappears in the crowd. As the crowd's beginning to file out now, and people are like going to their spinners, craziness just unfolded. Like, what just happened? What's just happened? And so, like in that shuffle, Lawton, you're able to kind of blend in with the crowd. Koji, what are you doing at this point?
You shared that Joe was driving the current spinner.
Yes.
All right, Everett, if you want to chase, I'll follow you.
We'll see what ends up happening.
Okay. So you guys, so we can do the same rules. You guys get into your spinner. That's totally fine. But you guys are actually going to be starting well behind because you were inside. You guys both said that you're staying inside. Arlie gave you the information. So by the time you got that information and ran outside, they've made some distance. So they're already going to be starting with a fairly large lead. So I'm going to put them at extreme. Doesn't mean you can't catch up. So same rules for you two as we did for the first time. You guys are the pursuers once more. This time you're going to be rolling driving. So one of you, whoever's the driver, you're going to be rolling a driving test. If you roll, if you're doing sort of pursue, that kind of thing.
Driving.
Okay, you should probably drive then.
Okay.
I have.
This is only if
driving.
that's if it's your task. So like a lot of when you're in a vehicle, a lot of the maneuvers are replaced with drive as opposed to like the actual skill that you would use if it was on foot.
Okay. Yeah, I could just kind of do spotting or like observing, I guess, spotting for stuff in the passenger seat.
Okay. So if that's the case, they're obviously they're just leaving. So they're fleeing at this point. So it's going to be, so I'm going to go ahead and as the prey, I'm going to go ahead and roll. So this is, see, the thing is though, is Joe is driving this. Joe does this professionally. I'm just kidding.
That he does.
Well, the driving is
Got a
different-
CDL.
It's a different skill, so it's sort of, but yeah. Okay, it's 2 successes.
Were there any boosts left for you along?
Use
So,
them all.
There's 2 left. So go ahead.
so you're going to need 2 successes to not immediately not be able, like, to be able to pick up their trail as you're leaving.
I will boost my D8 to D10 then.
Okay.
One success.
Okay, so you get off. You kind of see in the distance the lights of the vehicle, and as you kind of pick up speed, you put on your sirens, but you see them start to grow in speed, and they're following, proper protocols at first as they're sort of accelerating and leaving, staying in proper drive lanes and stuff. But then they kind of veer and turn around this gargantuan building that's a good, half a kilometer away from where it was. And you follow. But as you kind of turn around, you kind of go down that path, you look around and you just don't see them in that standard driving lane. You don't see where they went. Maybe they went down. Maybe they looped in, they found a spot, but they were just so far ahead of you at the start, because you guys had to run from inside, that they're able to kind of just disappear at this point. But you had a general idea that they were possibly heading like kind of southwesternly or westernly, so it's sort of like warehouse district, something like that, but you're not entirely sure. So they are able to, at this point, I'll say, get away just because of the huge head start that they had.
I don't see any more of it.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't know. If it's that Joe guy, maybe he can pull something out of his ass to help Portia, but there's a lot of people that were covering Kova, so who knows?
Okay. So I'm going to go back then. Arlie, Faye, what do you two do?
Since there was only 2 spinners left, or there was just the 2 spinners that we came in, and Faye gave the keys to one of them. She's gonna find Arlie, and we're gonna also find the sky bridge and just start.
Yeah, you guys aren't going to walk all the way down from 300 flights of stairs. There might be a
True,
lift in
yeah.
some of these, so like you're
Or,
probably
like,
going
we-
to you're going to
we
radio
paid-
in for
Yeah.
a car to come
Or
get
like Koji or whatever to like come back and come get us.
Yeah, that's probably more likely what's going to happen.
But
I
like,
wanted to steal a spinner from one of the rich people.
I
I'm
just
fine
wanted to
with
put
saying
some
that
distance
happens.
between the building and us, and when we have them come pick
We're
us
3
up.
hours in. I'm trying to get to the end, so we're
Got
gonna
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm trying to get to the end, guys. So we're gonna say, Lawton, in the commotion, you're able to steal some fancy spinner. and
I
you
kept
get
my
out.
gun, so
Sure. So you open the door, no one's inside. You're able to, with your tech know-how, figure out a way to hotwire this thing. Koji, Everett, you circle around this building that you saw them turn behind a while. You kind of if you want, you could signal in like APB, like this is the vehicle, whatever, if you want. But eventually you come back. Faye and Arlie are there. Lawton's not there. What do you guys do after this? You guys head back to LAPD.
Let's go report this in. It's the best we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Arlie, you getting your baseline?
Suppose I am.
You think they reported this already?
Oh, I most certainly did.
Okay. So for you, start heading back to LAPD. We'll kind of montage this a bit. So we'll see this whole series of moments where we see you guys meeting with Deputy Chief Holden, debriefing. We see Arlie in a bright white room We see the back and forth, sort of like with the voice over the radio. We see Holden kind of chewing out Koji and Everett and Faye. Where the F is Lawton? Where the f is Lawton? You kind of hear that over and over again. Just what the hell just happened? And after a while, everyone like this, like where it looks like you guys are screwed, where it looks like everything's bad. You think like you guys are in horrific trouble, and it's just going to be your ass is getting chewed out by him. So then there's a stir. And it's maybe an hour or 2 hours later. You can start seeing in some of the terminals around the LAPD offices here and there, like where normally there's like broadcasts of like GBS, like just showing like state-sponsored sort of stories popping up here and there. You kind of see this pirate broadcast start coming on. And Lawton, wherever you're driving, if you're driving past the GBS building or if you're just going past some other food court, whatever it might be, you can see some of these things kind of starting to pop it up. And it's like this home broadcast network kind of pops up. And you can see the face of Lena Kova, a little bit frazzled, not in as regal a state as she was when inside of the actual Fiyama gallery. She offers up her UNID, verifying her identification. You can see she starts holding up what looks to be a printout of a Kill newspaper, lists today's date. And then you can tell, those of you who are watching it, that her eyes keep going behind and up and behind and up. And she doesn't look scared, but she looks like angry. She looks a little anxious. And she starts going through and listing her crimes. You just hear this one after the other after the other. You hear massacre of Nexus 8 replicants 5 years ago at a Wallace Corp protein farm, the killing of an LAPD officer and attempted whistleblower in Meijai, the bribing and blackmailing of several media, corporate, and LAPD officials. And you see all this kind of happening. And then, like, suddenly fear does come into her eyes at this point. And you see in her eyes this orange and yellow glow as though the reflection of a flame kind of kicks in. And she just says, but we had a deal. And then like you hear this muffled voice, but you all, especially Everett, especially Arlie, recognize it as the voice of Joe Hualawa. And he says, so did we. And then you guys see like a brief burst of fire and then sort of static as the feed is lost. We're going to fade from that because there's chaos that's clearly going to follow. And as we close down our run, I want to give everyone like a moment here. So we're going to say next couple of days, could be later that day, could be next morning, could be a week from now, could be a month from now, wherever it is. I just want everyone to kind of give me a glimpse of where your character is in the aftermath of this. Okay. Does anyone have a clear idea of where that would be in this little epilogue?
I can go.
All right, go ahead, Everett.
After this experience that Everett had, just seeing where the corruption went and how it worked out, he resigns from the LAPD as much, maybe not like a full, like a classic one, but he essentially opens up like a private detective agency. He finds a mysterious envelope full of money that he thinks was from perhaps his sister who was off-world. And he decides, I could probably do more good with my skills, not bogged down by the corruption that's in the LAPD, because it shook his trust. He doesn't know who to trust in the department and who not to. So he still uses his connections that he, like, you know, people he's made friends with, Koji and whatnot, but he's doing his own thing.
Like private investigator style. Okay. Who else has like a little coda moment for their character?
Yeah, I got one.
All right, Lawton.
Classic wide shot of the Kipple factory out there. You zoom in, some scavs walk by, zoom in a bit more, into a room inside. There are just flickering screens. Humphrey Bogart and the African Queen. He's lost in the reeds and the mud and the muck, and he's pulling the boat by hand. And you just pan over and you see all across the walls are wake up symbols. The logos just painted everywhere. You see a whole bunch of computers and servers, some of which have been torn apart and pieced together. And then you see Lawton working, typing away.
Beautiful. Who's next?
OG. I'm still with the LAPD, 11 years strong. Keeping it going. More problems arise. Got to keep fixing them. So I'm getting chewed out by supervisors. All these heads up. New people coming on. Still working with them. And the classic new tattoos. Still going to the parlor. Getting inked up.
Just huge sleeves everywhere. Legs, arms, neck. Is that what we're talking? Is that what we're seeing? Or is it just more, strategic?
No, it's everywhere. Sleeves, back.
Okay. Arlie or Faye?
Faye can't see the point of being a Blade Runner anymore. So Faye retires and she winds up with whatever savings and stuff she has left with that hole in the wall gym that she used to go to. She kind of partners with them and actually just kind of takes over the company, and that becomes her new thing that she does is she just runs the gym because there's no, and maybe occasionally she freelances with Everett if he needs assistance, but
Sure.
Other than that, she doesn't see the point of.
Yeah, and they're perfectly fine with you leaving, as your spinner was discovered, but Warwick was not. It was discovered out in the wastes. It was, by the time it was found, it had been picked clean by waste scavengers. Warwick nowhere to be found. And your loss of the spinner is far worse than Arlie's loss of a flashlight.
Yeah.
And so they
I
were
presume
probably
it was they were about to term me, and so Faye just stepped down of her own volition.
It was just either they were gonna major suspension and you're like, hell with this, that kind of thing. Or you can't fire me, I quit kind of moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then we'll turn to Arlie. Any idea of where Arlie ends up?
So you're going to kind of start small. So you're going to zoom in on this table. And on top of the table are kind of these different strips of metal of kind of different sizes. And, kind of they're different scraps of things. And you kind of hear her humming, sort of whistling, and then she's sort of tapping. So she's essentially sort of made this scrap, like xylophone, sort of. And she's making it. And so it's kind of the same song that we'd seen her playing on a piano before, that she's kind of working out how to duplicate it in this sort of xylophone. So she's humming and listening and kind of tapping. And when you zoom out, you start to see graffiti. And you start to notice that this is also in the kipple, in the bunker.
So we'll just sort of pan back out from there as the camera just sort of backs its way out through some husk of a factory somewhere. Start drifting upwards, and we pan out over the heaps and the hills of all this trash. And in the far distance, covered in smog and rain, we see the neon lights of LA dotting the sky, barely visible through the darkness. And that's what will fade out and end Memories of Fire. We are done.
Yay.
All right.
One hell of a case.
Well done.
Ooh. Definitely understand why you'd retire after that one.
Yeah.
I love how casual we are when we see the detonator come out and it doesn't go off, and we're like, well, we'll help them escape even though we would have literally died.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, it was interesting. I was like, as we were going over it, I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna, because like it was one of those things where they were trying to like entrap them essentially in the assassination attempt once they discovered what's in that. So,
Yeah.
All right.
We definitely thought they were somewhere else to be found, and we just needed to find them.
I know you guys did. I definitely know that's what you guys thought. Yeah. So,
Did we check behind that closet?
Yeah, is it in the refrigerator? They didn't
Jeff,
look in the
we need to
refrigerator.
check the ceiling,
Yeah,
every tile.
yeah, I know. It's crazy. Did we check this door? Was it in the whiskey bottles? Yeah, it's really funny. Oh goodness, it's fine. So I don't know. Hope you guys had fun. Hope it's a satisfying conclusion.
Very.
Oh, yes.
So,
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Definitely
A lot of fun.
satisfying.
yeah. So you guys let him go, and in doing so, he was able to participate in the scheme as a sort of a backup play. And then, Lawton Stone.
God.
I got radicalized.
You did. Got right. Your
I-
eyes are wide open now.
I didn't even think that would be my ending until she started doing her whole thing about community and trust, and then she said that we trapped you, and I'm like, yeah, I can't go back to the LAPD.
It's true. Well, to be fair, she's not LAPD anymore. Deputy Chief Holden's a good dude. Like your immediate
Right,
supervisor's a good.
I'm just saying it would have spun my worldview.
I understand. I like it. I liked it. I like everyone's ending. It's good.
Would you say
Koji's-
you had your worldview shaken, Lawton?
It was burned down to the ground.
Oh, you get a
Memory
point
of
for
fire.
that. Yeah.
Oh
you get a
boy,
point for
we are
that.
not doing those questions again.
We all got demoted, so it's a good thing we resigned.
We
Few of you
did.
got fired or released. So, all right. I am going to say that Arlie probably wasn't yet reported, and maybe considering the fact, of what eventually happened with Kova, some of that kind of stuff maybe got lost.
I can
in the
erase her
shuffle.
file.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Guardian angel somewhere. But all right, that is the end of Blade Runner. At some point, we might come back to this, especially if they continue. If Free League hopefully supports it, releases some more archetypes and stuff, careers. We might kind of explore it. I love the world. Absolutely love the world. Love a lot of the rules. It does. I'm not sure if we're going to do like a task force again. Plus 5 people, it's a little tough. But I really like a lot of the stuff about it, and I hope they continue to support it and come out with more things. Okay, so what do we got going on? So a couple things in terms of our schedule for Friday. So next Friday we got Conan. In 2 weeks we're going to be doing a one shot of a game called Black Sword Hack. As our good pal Long here isn't going to be around, so for that week we're going to just do a one shot. But following that, so in 4 weeks, we're actually going to start up a new Delta Green campaign, something I've been working on for a while. I probably should start working on that a little bit more heavily, but I got 4 weeks. It should be fine. I have all the bases down and everything, but we're getting back to Delta Green. So very excited. Tomorrow is our most immediate game, is we're going to be doing some One Ring, 2nd edition. And then Monday, you can catch Melissa and I over here, where we're at right now, playing Call of Cthulhu, Horror on the Orient Express. And then we got some big stuff going on Tuesday, but I'll let Steven tell you about it. So what do we got going on, man?
Tuesday, not only is the party in the most dangerous situation they could ever possibly be in, surrounded by all sorts of sea monsters, and they could drown at any moment or freeze. Could go either way. But not only is that happening, but we're also doing a giveaway. So join us and have a chance to win the Bitter Reach for Forbidden Lands.
Absolutely. So come hang out, and we're going to try to make it as international as possible. So that's the idea, is trying to make it not just necessarily NA. So we'll work out the details of it for you. But come hang out. And then, and also in June, we're going to be playing another game on Saturdays for a couple weeks while Long's out of town. We're going to be playing some Embers of the Imperium. It's a Twilight Imperium game, if you're familiar with the board game. We do it for 3 weeks in June as an interlude before we get back to the finale, the final 12, 15 episodes of One Ring. So it's a space opera game. So we're going to be doing that for a couple weeks in June. So we got some new stuff coming down the pike over the next month or two. And towards the end of June, beginning of July, we're going to be flipping from Conan into Fallout. So we got all new stuff, coming down the pike.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're following the channel. Hope you like what we're doing. Hopefully you've taken a look at the YouTube page, Adventures in Lollygagging, or any of the podcast feeds. We got Adventures in Lollygagging, Waking of Egmar, excuse me, Lollygagging in the Orient Express. Go check those types of things out. But we're going to raid our buddies over at Defenders of Cobalt, who are also up way too late on a Friday. So follow us over there, as I think they're playtesting Chuck's game that he's been working on. So follow the raid. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
So, yep.